all the cells in this chart that was published turned green at once, meaning lower. COVID ended for older people, for the middle-aged, and for the young. It ended, and it has not come back, except slightly for older people, which is not a point in favor of the jab. And you just look at the numbers. So what accounted for this end to the plague of all plagues? Well, it wasn't vaccines.
What was it? It just ran its course, right? Or
Well, this is exactly where he's getting to. The vaccines were given in early 2021, a year before the tide rolled out, and even their backers concede that they didn't work well against Omicron. What happened was Omicron. It swept through the U.S. in the winter of 2022.
I got it.
The vaccinated and unvaccinated alike. Its mortality rates were much lower than earlier variants, probably less than 0.1%. Though its transmissibility meant that the winter of 2022 still saw a lot of deaths, particularly in older people, no matter that they were jabbed. Ever since, various not very lethal Omicron strains have bounced around a population that has real, natural immunity, helping make them even more of a nothing burger. Berenson concludes, in the end, the vaccines were a sideshow. COVID sought and found a truce with its human hosts. Virus gonna virus, and nature gonna nature. Love to get reaction. Maybe we'll do that next week from some of these infectious disease experts to this data and the conclusion that Berenson gleans from it, which tracks the timeline pretty well, makes logical sense. I don't hold myself out as an infectious disease expert, but it makes a lot of sense to me. And basically it's, by the way, it's consistent with everything we knew about infectious disease before COVID, some of which people purposely forgot, which is as the virus mutates, it gets more transmissible and less lethal. That's sort of the normal course, as I understand it, that occurs with viruses.
Well, then why are they, literally scaring us about this HV1? Just listen to this doctor, Peter.
It's very transmissible. So the things that you might have used as strategies before to escape infection may not work quite as well anymore.
Yeah, but the point was never to escape infection. That's the big lie. And he continues to tell it, so as so many other people that have been lobotomized through the repetition of these CDC bromides. That was never the point. I know at one point they said, you can't get it or give it. Well, we know that's not true. And we know that that's not the point. The point is, yeah, people get sick, but you don't want them to get critically sick, obviously much less die. And that's the point. That's the point that's being glossed over. And by the way, you want to talk about cynical? New York City launching $4 million COVID vaccine campaign targeting poorer neighborhoods. Nothing like predating the poor. That's how ghastly and ghoulish these COVIDians are. They know or should know that this is all bull jive. It is not helpful. It is not necessary, but they're doing it anyway. Perhaps some people should ask themselves why they think that is, or ask your COVIDian friends. Paul and Carrie are on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to point out, is the new flying rules or suggestion similar to like the 10-second rule when you drop something? So if it's short distance, it's kind of okay. But if it's long distance, you should mask up. Is that kind of...
Yeah, basically.
Regardless of the fact that... If the plane holds 200 people on a short distance, it holds 200 people on long distance. I'm at a loss to...
Thanks for the call, Paul.
The reporter never asked, what is long distance?
So basically COVID says, the first hour and a half of the flight, I'm going to leave you alone. But you're on that plane for 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
I'm coming to get you.
Exactly.
Row 2.
Yeah. You made your bed.
Window seat. I'm coming for you, man.
It's the same thing. If you're
sick,
if you're 5 feet away from someone, then you're exposed. If you stand in the safe circle 6 feet away, then COVID can't touch you. It's like there's a force field around you. This is the kind of silliness that has penetrated the minds still of so many Americans. It's remarkable.
And they're not coming back. They are not. There's no reaching them.
A lot of people have come back.
Oh.
Not everybody's
Not
going to come
everyone.
back, but we knew that from the outset. We know from human psychology. Go back to McCrae's mass delusions, popular delusions, mass hysteria from the 1840s. The psychosis, the hysteria occurs in a macro way, and the deprogramming, the return to rationality happens at the micro level. Group individuals come back, so it's going to take some time.
Well,
And
Dr. Emily
and it
Landon
still is.
yesterday was saying, well, if you feel sick, that is the point where you're most infectious and could spread the disease to others. So you might think you're hungover, but you might not be. You might have COVID, so you should take a test right away. I mean, shut the front door. Seriously.
Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
AM 560 The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You'll never guess where U.S. Air Marshals are and are not at 6:06.
Can't wait. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A witness testified he was shaken down by a former alderman. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
It's a pause, but not an end to the war in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Israel's prime minister is clear about that. Benjamin Netanyahu saying after the deal that'll free 50 hostages, the goal is still to free them all and destroy Hamas.
And to ensure that in Gaza there will be no factor that threatens Israel.
Fox's Jeff Paul's in Tel Aviv.
Under the U.S., Qatari, and Egyptian brokered deal, we understand Israel will receive 50 hostages, women and children. In exchange, Israel will then release 150 Palestinian prisoners. Now, the hostages, as we understand, will be freed in groups of 10 to 12 at a time over a span of 4 to 5 days. During those days, there will be a pause in the fighting.
3 Americans expected to be among the released hostages. President Biden in a statement says he's extraordinarily gratified, but the work won't stop until all Americans Hamas is holding hostage are released. We're learning more about the latest U.S. retaliation to the attacks against American forces in the Middle East.
United States fighter jets in Iraq have attacked 2 sites used by the local wing of Hezbollah. The Iranian-backed Kataib Hezbollah says at least 5 of its members were killed. The strikes were the latest response to a total of 66 attacks on U.S. military bases by groups with links to Iran.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. There will be another Republican in Congress. Celeste Malloy easily won a special election in Utah to fill a House seat vacant since GOP Congressman Chris Stewart resigned to help care for his ailing wife. 2 people are dead in North Philadelphia after a shooting that left 5 others wounded. Police Chief Inspector Scott Small says it may have been a drug deal gone bad.
One of the vehicles in plain view appeared to have narcotics inside, and another vehicle in plain view appeared to have some cash inside.
60 years ago today, there was a shooting in Dallas that shocked America. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on this day in 1963. America's listening to Fox News.
35 degrees in Chicago, 6:02 on AM 560 The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago officials making an effort to try and move more migrants from police stations this week into shelters. Several migrants have been moved out of the 15th District Police Station on the west side, and a former Jewel-Osco on the city's south side may soon turn into a migrant camp. That camp is at 115th and Halstead in the Morgan Park neighborhood where a Jewel-Osco once stood.
Why would you put our taxpaying dollars on migrants and not on the people that have been living in this community for decades?
Annette Kane was protesting yesterday under a deal struck with the local alderman. The Johnson administration says the site cannot be used as a tent camp past November of next year. A federal corruption trial against former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke continues this week. On Tuesday, businessman Shakot Donnie testified Burke shook him down while he tried to remodel a Burger King restaurant he owned. City of Chicago staffers are asking the mayor's office and city council to back the ceasefire in Gaza. A few staffers signed a letter to the mayor and council yesterday. A long-standing nightclub on the north side closing after nearly 4 decades of business. Berlin nightclub posting online it's because of increasing cost and security along with insurance. There was no mention of a recent strike by part-time employees and a unionization effort. Chicago Fire Department battle ablaze at Calumet Fisheries that left extensive damage yesterday in the 3200 block of East 95th. Chicago Fire saying the restaurant suffered an electrical issue. The restaurant was recently closed for failing a health inspection. This morning, Chicago firefighters battled a massive warehouse blaze in Logan Square. Fire broke out around midnight in the 2700 block of North Pulaski. And the bodies of a man and boy were found in an apartment in the Logan Square neighborhood late last night. Chicago police say they responded around 10:30 to the 3500 block of West Lyndale for a well-being check. Officers found the bodies of a 40-year-old man and a 6-year-old boy in what they say are advanced states of decomposition. Chicago sports, Bulls take on OKC tonight while the Blackhawks take on the Blue Jackets. The news is a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Call Stephen Tucker at healthinsurancementors.com or 630-674-1551. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager says there's only one choice.
It's not surprising to me the left has destroyed the conscience of a vast number of people. More and more Americans are being, quote, neutral. To be neutral between Hamas and Israel is to forfeit moral seriousness.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Homeowners, are you feeling the weight of credit card debt and high mortgage insurance payments? There's great news for you. Home values have increased, and it's time to leverage that to your advantage. Welcome to the Home Value Refinance Solution from Townstone Financial. Your home's increasing value presents an incredible opportunity. With Townstone's Home Value Refinancing Solution, you can use this newfound equity to consolidate high-interest credit card debt and say goodbye to burdensome mortgage insurance payments. Imagine freeing yourself from financial stress. Townstone's experienced team will help you navigate the refinancing process, unlocking the potential in your increased home value. Seize this opportunity. Use the extra equity to reinvest in your home, take that long-awaited vacation, or simply build your savings for the future. Don't let this chance slip away. Call Townstone today at 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com to explore how your increased home value can transform your financial future. Townstone Financial is an Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 MLS 136639, Equal Housing Lender.
Everybody needs an edge. The other guy is working on his edge right now, whether you have one or not. Testosterone levels are at an all-time low historically, and individual T levels in men decline 1% every year with age. There's a new champion of natural testosterone boosters, and it's called CHOQ, C-H-O-Q. 100% natural herbal extracts with game-changing effects on your energy, mood, and focus. CHOQ Daily's main ingredient has been clinically studied to boost testosterone 20% in 90 days. Supercharge your masculinity with higher T and a massive boost of energy by taking CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack every day. Take the 90-day CHOQ Challenge and reap the benefits of the reigning champion of natural men's health with CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack. For a very limited time only, Choq, CHOQ, is giving our listeners a 30% discount with promo code USA. That's CHOQ.com, code USA, for 30% off while supplies last.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45, non-smoker, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month, level rate for 10 years. Or a man age 50, non-smoker, can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At Term Busters, a faith-based company, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 800-275-8525. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 800-275-8525. Remember, 800-275-8525. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker underwriting exam required to qualify. Term Busters, a faith-based company. 800-275-8525. 800-275-8525.
6:08, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Just a couple of trouble spots. Kennedy stop and go, Austin to Montrose, 26 into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike solid from Wolf Road to Des Plaines Avenue. It's an hour right now, 390 into the old post office. 394, an accident, right lane block. A vehicle stuck under a semi this morning southbound right at Sauk Trail on Route 394. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Big travel day today. Clouds and sun. Our high today 45. Clear tonight, low 34. Sunny to partly cloudy on Thanksgiving Day. The high tomorrow at 47. Variable cloudiness. It'll be a cold day Friday. The high at 37. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
35 at O'Hare, 35 Midway, 30 in Aurora. And your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. All the stories of record travel this Thanksgiving holiday. Well, part of ensuring the safety of our aviation system is having air marshals on flights. You don't know where they'll be. You just know they're on flights.
And they got your back.
Yeah, well, that creates a certain additional layer of safety beyond the security theater that TSA performs in airports around the country. Well, what if there are no air marshals in the air and everybody knows it? Does that compromise aviation safety? Could. So this is a fascinating interview that was done by Carly Shimkus over at Fox News. A woman who is former Air Marshal Sonia Labasco, who's now the director of the Air Marshal National Council. She explains where air marshals actually are, the very few that are in the air. Most of them are not. Why?
Carly, nothing has changed since we've been fighting this for almost 2 years. The air marshals are still down on the border. We are not flying right now. We just received an email last week that the resources are depleted as far as our flying air marshals. So we are ushering in illegal immigrants on the border and leaving the traveling public unsafe. The only thing we're doing on the border is passing out water. We're not doing law enforcement duties.
Yeah.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. So if Ms. Labasco is right, we have air marshals, trained federal law enforcement that are doing what volunteers could be doing in terms of providing, food and water to migrants at the border.
Are they making them sandwiches too?
So this is sort of the point of that has been raised, or for all this talk about $1 billion for the border in exchange for signing on to more aid for Ukraine and aid to Taiwan and so on and so forth. People have made this point before, but this really puts an exclamation point behind it, which is, what does $1 billion to hire more border agents mean if you're just going to hire more border agents to do what air marshals are doing right now, which is pass out water while you're ushering in people who've come to this country legally into the country?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I was unaware that the air marshals were almost completely deployed to the border as opposed to, their job as air marshals. And this is what Labasco says about that in terms of the impact.
Yes, Secretary Mayorkas has said more than once that the border is secure. So he is not concerned with that. But we all know that the border is not secure. He will not call this a crisis. But now not only is the border destabilized, so is our aviation is destabilized as well.
And have you seen, there have been countless, if you just get on the internet, there's countless in-flight fights between passengers. For some reason or another, I don't know what sparks it. Each one's different, but you need air marshals.
That's an aspect of it, but also you need transparency from your government.
Mm-hmm.
The situation on the ground and in the air is different than what I think it is. I think that's the case for most people. I'm sure they don't have. I'm sure this reality has not penetrated the public's mind. Something else. For the few air marshals that are in the air, there's just a few, according to Labasco. A few air marshals tasked with a very specific mission.
The only missions that we're doing are Quiet Skies missions, and those are missions that are following the January 2021 people. So we're either on the border for illegal immigrants, or we're following folks from January 2021. We're not doing our regular missions where we're out there looking for the bad guys. So right now on most flights, you're not going to have air marshals.
What do you mean by that? You're following January 2021 people. What does that mean?
That means our primary mission is a little group called Quiet Skies. It's a mission called Quiet Skies that we're following people that flew into the National Capital Region in January 2021. You did not have to go to the Capitol or the rally, and you've been put on a specific list that TSA now has assigned air marshals to follow these people who have not had any type of criminal investigation. They haven't committed a crime, but yet 3 years later, we're following the same individuals day in and day out.
So you're saying that air marshals are now following people that were at the Capitol on January 6th, and they're not tracking terrorists at all?
Well, they didn't even have to be at the Capitol, Carly. They could have just flown into the National Capital Region. So if anybody was there for a job interview, to visit family, we even had a gentleman that was there for a funeral. They put on this domestic terrorist list just because of their geographic location to Washington, D.C. So these people did not even commit a crime. They weren't even at the Capitol.
What? Do those people know that they're on this list?
Some of them do, because when they go to the airport, they get the quad S's on their boarding pass, and then they have to go through enhanced security. Then they're followed by teams of air marshals on any leg of flight that they have. So yes, a lot of them do know that they're being followed, yet they haven't been vetted and they have not committed a crime. And 3 years later, we're still doing the same duty, and we followed the same people over and over for 3 years who are no threat to this country.
Well, that is chilling. I mean, what a waste of resources. But the fact, too, that even if they flew into D.C. during that time period, they're following them? What do we live in a communist country?
How does Congress not know about this? I mean, this is the first I've heard about it. I follow this stuff pretty closely. Mm-hmm. How has this never been raised in a congressional hearing with... Let's start with Mayorkas. Let's include the FAA administrator. Let's include Ray. How has this never been raised? The idea that you have federal law enforcement following people on flights who are what? They're just in an open-ended fashion under interminable investigation after 3 years because they happen to be in the D.C. metro area on January 6th of 2021. That's what she's saying.
I know. Oof.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Joe in Naperville.
Yeah, that money was appropriated for use in certain circumstances in certain ways. And if it's not being used like that, I don't understand why there's not hearings or court cases, and I don't understand why Mayorkas isn't impeached. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Thanks for the call. Well, those articles of impeachment that Marjorie Taylor Greene drafted, well, if you don't want them under the name Marjorie Taylor Greene, fine, but they better be resuscitated in advance, particularly if this can be corroborated, what Miss Labasco is saying. I mean...
That's chilling. I mean, oh my God. They're not domestic terrorists. One was at a father's funeral. My God, please give me a break.
George in Naperville.
Dan, does anybody do what they're hired to do under this administration? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call. Yeah, you got to repurpose people based on exigent circumstances. I'm sure they would argue.
Well, what are they
Although, why are the circumstances exigent? You can't say they're exigent circumstances on the one hand and say the border's secure on the other hand, but that's what Mayorkas has gotten away with doing. And, I mean, the entire administration, really.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just think this is a continued attack on Trump and Trump supporters.
The situation at the border, too. I mean, just some more color on that. Adam Klepp is a reporter on the ground out of Tucson. And here's what's happening every single day in Tucson, San Diego,
probably El Paso.
In the tens of thousands. Bill Malusian reporting on this, too. Tucson, El Paso, San Diego sectors have seen it the most, but it's not exclusive. Listen to this.
Hey, Adam Klepp here with K-Gun, just giving you a look at the street releases that have been happening in Nogales since September 13th. The county says over 13,000 migrants have been dropped off by CBP and Border Patrol here in the city, and there's no signs of it slowing down anytime soon.
And he's got video of all these individuals that have been released into Nogales,
You can see they're all lined
Arizona.
up. They're waiting for the buses to come and take them to shelters in Phoenix or Tucson. There's lots of family groups here.
I'm watching the video now. Oh my God, there's so many people.
And it just goes all the way down. Hola, ¿de dónde eres?
De acá de Michoacán.
Michoacán, México.
México.
Michoacán?
Zacatecas.
Okay.
Michoacán.
Michoacán. So a lot of migrants here from Mexico, but really coming from all over the world. I interviewed a migrant coming from Guinea. So the week of Thanksgiving, no end in sight for these migrant street releases.
And they wonder why they're being bussed out of that area. They can't handle the load. The fact that it's still happening. I mean, we're never going to get our country back if we don't shut the border soon. Never.
Marvin, Burlington, Wisconsin.
Well, I don't think we're going to have the country's lost. I'm safe to be pessimistic, but they call us conspiracy theorists. With our crazy notion that the government is actually working against us. I don't know how much more proof do we need. I mean, it is a total them against us common folk out here, and I hope people somehow maybe wake up. I mean, between all the migrants, or I say illegals, coming over the border illegally, trying to flood us out of our prosperity, and the government keeping track of tax-paying, law-abiding citizens instead of criminals running around in the streets. I mean, And then what they're teaching our kids is what they're, in order to avoid what they should be teaching them. No one has control over anything except the lunatics. And I think, I hate to say it, but I think we're finished. We're in the start of our long, slow decline.
Thanks for the call, Marvin. I'd love to hear from somebody that perhaps, I don't know. You flew into D.C. Metro on January 6th. Maybe you're being followed, and maybe per what Ms. Labasco said, that you're being followed because you're getting this enhanced interrogation and you're getting tagged when you go through security and so on and so forth, as she described. Maybe there's somebody in Chicagoland that's experiencing this. I wouldn't be surprised. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. That is really lives of others, East German stuff.
Text message.
If what she's saying is true.
Yeah, Dan and Amy, this is the definition of a police state.
It is.
Yep.
Sean and Darien.
Yeah, good morning, guys. It's really simple. Shut the border down. Shut the freaking border down. We don't know these people. They're illegals, by the way. I can't stand when people call them migrants. They're here illegally. We don't owe them shelter. We don't owe them food. We don't owe them water. We owe them nothing. I hope that when Trump gets in, he does it. This administration is a disgrace. I want to scream, but anyway. And on top of that, just have a happy Thanksgiving. Your show is excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sean. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hey all, Jim Carr here. I am the owner of Carr Machine and Tool in Elk Grove Village and loyal customer of Signature Bank. As a second-generation owner, I knew I had to shift from operating as an old-school machine shop to what I can proudly say is now one of the fastest-growing aerospace manufacturing facilities in the region. Signature Bank was there every step of the way through our expansion efforts, including financing our new state-of-the-art facility. Their valuable industry expertise and constant communication throughout the construction process made our vision possible. Many thanks to Signature Bank for supporting Carr Machine and Tool. You set the bar high for other banks.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Allow me to start.
All right, so we're in the beginning stages of our annual Food for the Poor campaign, and it's really important. This year we're trying to raise money to feed families from Latin America, from the Caribbean, Haiti, other places, because you think things are bad here. Can you imagine there's no programs for them to rely on? And if places like Haiti, the only thing they have is Food for the Poor. So we're asking for a one-time donation of $80, or with $80, you can feed 2 children for 1 year. For a gift of $320, you could feed 8 children for 1 year. And the impact of your gift can mean so much to people who are in need this time of the year. The number to call is 844-862-4673, 844-862-4673, or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
And we're also doing our Business Benefactor program again this year in conjunction with the Food for the Poor raise. If you're a business owner or you make the marketing decisions for a business, the Business Benefactor program works thusly. Your business makes a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And we at AM 560 give you 40 one-minute commercials to air on our airwaves Monday through Friday, prime broadcast hours, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago radio. Yeah. And at the same time, you're providing life-saving food for more than 65 children in Latin America and the Caribbean. To become a business benefactor, you just call our general sales manager. Her name is Ann Jeanette. She's a nice lady. She'll take your call at 847-472-8951.
I love Ann Jeanette. She's the best.
472-8951. Ann Jeanette at 847-472-8951 to become a business benefactor.
And we want to thank you in advance for your generosity.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, a perfect segue from our conversation we were just having. James Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent. He has written a piece, Fix the FBI. I have an F word for the FBI, but it's not fix. 6:36, James Gagliano.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Mike, I'm getting a lot of text messages about different mashed potato recipes.
Oh,
here.
you can go in almost any different direction you want.
Such a versatile food.
Crock pot, Betty Crocker. Everyone's like, but what about instant mashed potatoes?
No, heavens no.
Okay.
Potatoes are so easy. Throw them in boiling water with 2 tablespoons of salt.
Well, trust me, if there's a recipe, I can mess it up.
No, you'll do fine.
Okay.
It'll be good. This morning, we're watching several different developments. We will start in Israel, where Israel and Hamas have reached a deal to release some hostages.
This very complex deal could start moving as soon as tomorrow, and because they'll be coming out in groups of 10 to 12 people over a span of 4 to 5 days, it's going to be a little complex as far as what could happen over those days. Yeah, the U.S., Egyptian, and Qatari officials brokered this deal essentially, and Hamas will be releasing 50 hostages, both women and children. Now, in exchange, Israel will then get a 3-to-1 ratio, basically. Israel would be then releasing 150 Palestinian prisoners. Now, the hostages, as we understand, will be freed in groups of 10 to 12 people over a span of 4 to 5 days.
Fox's Jeff Paul in Tel Aviv. The agreement approved by Israel's cabinet will include that multi-day ceasefire, but that will not last for long. The U.S. is launching retaliatory strikes against Iran-backed militias in Iraq. Central Command saying a round of airstrikes was launched early today against 2 facilities backed by Iran that were involved in attacks on U.S. forces stationed in Iraq on Tuesday. A New York Democrat is apologizing for what he says was a, quote, poor choice of words, end quote, when referring to former President Donald Trump. Congressman Daniel Goldman saying during an interview that Trump is a, quote, danger to democracy and must be eliminated, end quote. Authorities say 2 adults and a girl were killed in a landslide in Alaska Monday night. 3 others are missing. Chicago firefighters battle a massive extra alarm fire in Logan Square Tuesday night into this morning. Fire broke out around midnight in the 2700 block of North Pulaski. CTA has, however, resumed busing in the area and roads have been reopened. The bodies of a man and boy were found in an apartment in Logan Square late last night. Chicago police say they responded to calls for a well-being check in the 3500 block of West Lyndale. Officers then found the bodies of a 40-year-old man and a 6-year-old boy. It appeared, according to police, the bodies were in an advanced state of decomposition. Bulls coming off a 118-100 loss to Miami take on OKC tonight. Blackhawks skate against Columbus. The White Sox add a former All-Star shortstop. Team signing veteran Paul DeJong to a 1-year deal. He'll replace Tim Anderson. The news service of Staples stores. Staples holiday deals mean amazing savings for the holiday season. And right now, save 60% on custom holiday cards and invites, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Offer ends 12/2. A check of traffic and weather's on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says there's a reason.
Well, the people in the region, it would make really a lot of sense, right? Does Egypt or Jordan want these people? Do the people of the Middle East want the Hamas sympathizers? Okay, so you don't want to do that because you know that the people of Gaza have been radicalized throughout the years.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them, and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day, and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
6:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Edens Expressway. Jammed up Cicero to Montrose and 17 in from Lake Cook Road. Kennedy inbound already 40 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange, and that all-important flip trip heading back out to the big airport, 30 minutes from the Burns Circle back out to O'Hare. The Ike, you've got big delays coming inbound from 390 to the old post office. You've got road work in a right lane that is shutting things down near Wolf Road. It's water main repair work causing big delays on the Ike. 65 minutes in from 390 to the OPO this morning. Stevenson 40 in to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. 394 between Sauk Trail southbound and Stager Road. A vehicle stuck under a semi. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Intervals of clouds and sun today with a high of 45. Currently 34. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Before we get to our next guest, James Gagliano, former supervisory agent at the FBI, we were talking about what Ms. Labasco had to say in that interview on Fox News about air marshals not just being used to essentially do administrative duties at the border rather than be in the skies,
but spy on people.
But also that for the last 3 years, this Operation Quiet Skies, they have been following people who were in the D.C. metro area on January 6th, even if they never went to the Capitol.
Yeah, anybody that flew in, right?
So we want color on this. Sonia Labasco, Air Marshal National Council Director, is the person making these claims. Apparently she's a former Air Marshal. So Terry from Downers Grove says he's on a January 6th watch list, even though he hasn't been charged with any crimes. Terry, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, hi, Dan and Amy.
So
yeah.
You have not been. Were you at the Capitol on January 6th?
Yeah, I was in the Capitol. You might have saw it written up a few times in the Epic Times. I was peacefully.
So have you been charged with any crimes?
No, I have not.
And are you? I mean, I'm just going down the punch list of what she is saying. So when you travel, are you being tagged for enhanced security? Have you been in? Do you know that you're being followed by an air marshal?
Yeah, I was labeled a Quad 6, unknown, 2 years after the fact, and we still don't know if it was because I was vocal, and I think you might know that from school board meetings, or because I was at January 6th, and it was 2 years after the fact that I was tagged a domestic terrorist. And we were on the way out to Charlie Kirk's America Fest. My twins were VIP guests and their friends, and they took my whole family out of the line. My children were labeled Quad S as well at O'Hare as we were flying out to Phoenix. And I couldn't get a boarding pass, and I was waiting at the ticket gate while I had my family go through the platinum line, and I saw them take my family out. So we didn't know what was going on. They took my whole family out. I ran over there, and I said, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "Oh, it must be a random check." Then I ran back to the ticketing lady, and I'm like, "What's up with my ticket? I can't, I'm going to miss my family." She gave me a boarding pass to get past to the security. And I go to the TSA security, and then the guy shuts the whole line down, tells everyone to get out of line. And that's when I found out I was a Quad S, which I still didn't know what that meant. And they thought I was on the list on accident because my name might have been similar to somebody else. And then by the time I got to the gate, they were boarding up the plane. My family came from somewhere else where they were searching them. And then one of the agents came up to me and said, he goes, "You're on a list with some really bad people." I'm like, "Really?" We missed a few flights.
And so have you had any interaction? Have you been interviewed by the FBI or been contacted by federal law enforcement?
Yes, I had a visit after the fact, and I'm not good.
You're not at liberty to talk about it.
No, I didn't do anything wrong. They knew about it. When I flew out to CPAC, it was even worse. They sent 5 agents in O'Hare. And I sent you an email with some photos, Dan, I think earlier this week, if you can find it. They sent 5 agents to the I had to go through the enhanced security. Then I get to the gate, and I'm waiting to fly on my plane, and these 5 agents come up. And then they announce they're going to search everybody. I'm sorry, not search everybody. They want to check everybody's driver's licenses and stuff. And I walked up to them, and I said, I have this Quad S still. And they said, please step aside. And one guy came and took my pass and then searched me and right there before I got on the airplane. And then when I left Washington, D.C. to come back, they sent this different 5 agents, including a undercover air marshal. And I think I sent you the picture of that.
So I mean, do you understand yourself to be a target of the FBI, an FBI investigation, or what do you understand yourself to be, other than a Quad S?
Well, I was on domestic terrorist watch list. Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz, I got a call, a text message in January from his attorney on my phone and said, hey, please, contact me about your situation. I spoke to him the next day, and I said, how'd you get my number? And he said, from Congressman Jim Jordan. And they wrote a letter, Matt Gaetz wrote a letter to Garland, Ray, and Mayorkas. And then, again, I think you have it. And he said,
give me the upshot. Give me the upshot here. We got to go. Sorry. But give me the upshot. So are you a target of investigation? Are you on the list? Are you off the list? Do you expect to be charged? Do you not? Do you know?
I suddenly got off the list after Matt Gaetz sent that letter to Garland, Ray, and Mayorkas in March. They acknowledged receipt of the letter from Matt Gaetz, but they never answered any of his questions, not once. He wanted to know, are you maintaining a list of school board parents? Am I on that list? Are you maintaining a list of everybody who was in January 6th? Are you maintaining? There was 4. I just woke up. I'm sorry. There was 4.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, okay. So
thank you for.
And they never answered. They never answered his questions.
But as far as you know, you're off the list.
Yeah, I flew the next time I flew after that, I was off the list. Took my TSA pre-check privileges, which I had for 10 years, and I'm a platinum flyer. And we still don't know if it was because I was an outspoken school board parent, or it was 2 years after January 6th. I haven't been arrested. I didn't do anything. I was there peacefully. I was back in my hotel before anybody even got into the Capitol.
Okay.
So,
right. Terry, we got to go, but I appreciate the story, and yeah, that goes to the point that we're making and that Sonia Labasco is making. Thanks for that, Terry. We're now pleased to be joined by James Gagliano, who's a retired FBI supervisory special agent and a doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's University. You used to be the Redmen, but that was too politically incorrect. So it's with the Red Flash now, the Red Wave. Anyway, James Gagliano, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Red Storm. Yes, James, thanks for joining us.
And Amy, good to join you. And yes, it is now the Red Storm. The Red Men is considered, politically incorrect. So
yes.
It is the Red Storm.
Horrific, yes. And Rick Pitino's turning that basketball program around, so that's fun. But what's not fun is the story that Sonia Labasco is telling on Fox News, what you just heard from a caller here in Chicago, in the Chicago metropolitan area. I mean, do you know about this idea that air marshals are following people around who were in the D.C. metro area 3 years ago, even if they have not been charged with any crimes at this point?
Yeah, heard about it the same way you did by listening to the news and seeing it on there. Yeah, it does have a chilling effect on folks, and I think that's the crux of what you're going to want to get into in regard to the FBI. the fact that it appears that folks of a particular political persuasion are being treated differently in our justice system than other folks.
Well, it's more than that. That's part of it, but this is Stasi stuff. Air marshals are following people around who are not charged with any crimes. And if, for example, just taking that story at face value, we have no reason not to believe it, considering he hasn't been charged with any crime. We're 3 years removed just about from January 6th. They're following him around. He's got a special designation. His family's getting rousted at airports. What the hell is that?
Yeah, it does. This is going to sound like the understatement of the year, but it does sound extremely peculiar, especially with the rules in place right now, the Attorney General guidelines, that for even a preliminary inquiry to be opened up in the FBI, it has to meet certain metrics. And yes, conducting surveillance on somebody or on a family requires certain metrics and certain sign-offs by somebody like me who would have been a brick-level supervisory special agent and then on up the chain. So, yes, it sounds very disconcerting. It's not the FBI that I know. And, again, I don't have all the facts. Maybe there's a little bit more to this. But Director Wray and A.G. Garland seem to have a reticence to allay the American public's fears that the FBI has begun to overreach. So I think that's your point.
Yeah, well, you're right. That is an understatement. But we have, and now with the more of this video being released from January 6th, we have this. Just the News reported this, John Solomon's outfit, and confirmed the authenticity of this video. This is, I'll just play it. It's a brief clip. This is ostensibly a plainclothes Metro D.C. police officer talking to another police officer on January 6th at the Capitol. Talking to another D.C. Metro officer in uniform, undercover, talking to D.C. Metro, and this is that exchange.
Well, we go undercover as Antifa in a crowd, so can you put that back in? All right, thank you so much. Yeah, it feels better. Did you guys get sprayed?
This was after tear gas had been deployed, which is why he's saying, you feel better, are you guys okay, blah, blah, blah. But undercover, saying we go undercover in the crowd as Antifa, talking to a uniformed D.C. Metro police officer. And we get the stonewalling from Christopher Wray and others. You get even the Capitol Police Chief at the time, Stephen Sun, saying, very peculiar communications. I was cut out of the loop. It wasn't normal how this was handled. And you wrote a piece for City Journal about fixing the FBI. I mean, the window to fix the FBI in the minds of the people like me who would otherwise be very deferential to the FBI is closing rapidly.
Yeah, Dan, I don't disagree with you. I'll pump the brakes just a little and say this very quickly. The FBI has been around for 115 years. It's done some colossally great things. And I truly still believe this. Though I believe it's broken and needs repair, I will still say this and suggest that the FBI is the premier law enforcement agency in the world, not just in the country. Now, having said that, and I highlighted some of these things in the City Journal piece you're talking about, there are changes that have to be made, and I'll tell you why we've changed. I was in the FBI from 1991 until 2016 for a full 25 years. I served under 4 of the only 8 Senate-appointed FBI directors. So there's only been 8 since J. Edgar Hoover and now to Director Wray. Here's what's changed. It's not the agency itself, but it's the recruits, the people we are bringing in. And Assistant Director retired Chris Swecker spoke on this on Fox News recently. He and I are close friends and confidants. But the workforce, the talent pool, the agents that we are drawing from the 20 and 30-year-old sets, they are becoming more intellectual. That's a good thing, right? More education. They are becoming more liberal. Look at the latest Harvard statistics. Harvard, like a lot of the effete liberal academic institutions, especially in the Ivy League, they are trying desperately to become more diversified in everything, Dan and Amy, but thought. The last class of kids that came into Harvard, 65% professed to be liberals and Democrats, 8% professed to be conservatives. So that's where we're drawing our talent from. So how does that change things? Because somebody's a Democrat means that they can't be a good investigator? No. but their thought process, what's inculcated in their minds on campus, is that you don't just follow the law bereft of fear or favor in investigations, but you put your own imprimatur on it. If you think that this group or this agency, this organization, this collection of individuals is more loathsome than another group doing the same things, you treat it a little bit differently. And that, in a nutshell, my friends, is what I think the problem right now with the FBI.
So when you arrived to the FBI 25 years ago, was it politicized?
Well, I mean, the FBI director is a political appointment, right?
Right.
So the president gets to pick that person. They serve for a term of 10 years. So it's supposed to be able to cross over presidential administration. But the rank and file have always been agents, and they were generally speaking hewing more to the conservative side. Since Director Mueller, who serves as FBI director for 12 years, and then Director Comey, who was there for just shy of 4 years, and now Director Wray, they have brought more civilians in, people put in positions in charge at FBI headquarters that are not BRIC agents that moved up through the ranks. And I think that's another problem that they're having.
Well, so this is an important point because, we talked to Kevin Brock, former assistant director for counterintel for the FBI, and others, retired FBI. And, a lot of the discussion is, it's the leadership problem, but the rank and file. And you're saying, no, actually, it's a rank and file problem as much as it's a leadership problem, which is very interesting because the point then is if it is being undermined, if it's essentially a fifth column action within the FBI, then I don't know how you fix that any more than you fix Harvard or Yale. Or do we have to wait for FBI agents to be out protesting on behalf of Hamas before we recognize that the thing is being corrupted from the inside out?
No, I agree with Kevin Brock, and I know Kevin. He's a good man. I agree. It is a leadership issue because if I'm the boss and people are coming onto my squad or into my division, and they're not following the evidence bereft of fear or favor, and I detect any type of partiality or bias, I correct that. It's a leadership issue. The young kids that are coming in, many of them are idealistic. They want to come in and do the right thing. But again, look at what's going on our college campuses and universities. As the agent pool is becoming more educated, what do I mean by that? I didn't have a master's degree when I came in. Yeah, I graduated from West Point. I was an Army officer, but I didn't have a master's degree. The vast majority of kids that are coming in now are much more educated than I am. That's where leadership matters, and that's where telling people, no, you cannot do this. You can't cook the books like what happened on January 6th, where they decided that they were opening domestic terrorism cases in all 50 states, which of course causes everybody to say, oh, my God, we've got these white supremacists, neo-Nazis, Trump MAGA people protesting, and there's cases in all 50 states. No, it was one incident, and they decided to use those numbers to suggest that domestic terrorism was this huge scourge on the far right when it was one incident of a bunch of clowns going into the Capitol like they shouldn't have, yet they don't look at it the same way in 2020 when police precincts were being burned, a federal courthouse in Portland was occupied and firebombed. That's different, but the clowns going into the Capitol dressed as a shaman, those folks are now going to rot in jails for a long time.
Well, I mean,
problems.
Yeah, I hear you, but I mean, unless like you and Brock go back, or you get more people like you and Brock in the leadership positions in the FBI, then it's not fixable. It's going to get worse, whatever worse looks like. You're saying it's both a personnel and a cultural problem, which I agree with, but that is not easily reformed.
No, but then you're going to suggest that the wonderful, test democracy we have that's only been around for a little over 2 centuries is not reformable either, because the FBI is a reflection of our country, and that's where we're at. And you guys talk about it every day, about the changes, and these are the things that are ongoing right now. Do I think it's fixable? I do, because I'm ever the eternal optimist. Do I think it's concerning and damning, and do I think that people like you that speak about this have a right to do that and are sounding the clarion call? Yes, I agree with you there.
James Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent and a doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's University. James, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys having me. You guys take care.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you have a home remodeling project you'd love to get done? This is your opportunity to lock in this year's pricing with Chicago's Design Build Dream Team. Forever Remodeling is now offering exceptional savings. Simply sign on by December 31st to avoid any price increases next year. At Forever Remodeling, their expert designers and installers will turn your dreams into reality. Act now and you'll not only protect yourself from future price increases, but also beat the rush and secure a preferred spot in their schedule. Call 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. Highly skilled to design and build.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How do you win a war against America? That's 707.
Now let's head straight into that newsroom. Our good friend Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, witnesses testify he was shaken down by a former Chicago alderman. Corruption trial continues in the Ed Burke case. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
The war hasn't paused yet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Israeli troops continue to target Hamas inside Gaza, killing more of the militants before a deal to free some hostages takes effect that'll temporarily stop the fighting.
We need to bring them all home now.
She's among the families of Hamas's hostages gathered at the Vatican today, meeting with Pope Francis. The ones that'll be set free in an agreement the U.S. helped broker will be women and children. 3 are expected to be Americans.
Hamas will be releasing 50 hostages, both women and children. Now, in exchange, Israel will then get a 3-to-1 ratio, basically. Israel would be then releasing 150 Palestinian prisoners.
Fox's Jeff Paul is in Tel Aviv, says the first group could be set free tomorrow.
And because they'll be coming out in groups of 10 to 12 people over a span of 4 to 5 days, it's going to be a little complex as far as what could happen over those days.
More Americans are out driving or taking off for Thanksgiving tomorrow, but so far it's not too bad across the country at airports.
So far, we've seen 40 cancellations today and just over 400 delays. Here at Newark Airport, the line, it has consistently been pretty long. And we've been talking to passengers who showed up early, and they said even though they showed up early, they're now a little nervous.
Well, that's Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth. Sam Altman is back at OpenAI. Days after the board fired him as CEO, prompting hundreds of employees to threaten to quit. That board was replaced and the new one rehired Altman.
The previous board of directors had refused to give specific reasons for why it fired Altman, though industry insiders suggest it had to do with AI's rapid commercialization since ChatGPT launched a year ago. And members of the board had expressed deep concerns about the safety risks posed by AI.
That's Fox's Kevin Quirk. Altman, after he was fired, was set to join Microsoft, but now he's back at OpenAI. America's listening to Fox News.
34 degrees in Chicago. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago officials are making an effort to move migrants from police stations into shelters. City is putting up some winterized tents. And while several migrants have been moved out of the 15th district on the west side, more are likely to be moving in the coming weeks. Former Jewel Osco on the city's south side as well may turn into a migrant camp. It is at 115th and Halstead in the Morgan Park neighborhood. It's where Jewel Osco once stood, and protesters yesterday stood against the construction of the migrant encampment.
Why would you put our taxpaying dollars on migrants and not on the people that have been living in this community for decades?
Under a deal struck with the local alderman, the Johnson administration cannot use that site as a tent camp past November 1 of next year. The federal corruption trial against former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke continues this week. Businessman Shakot Donnie testified Burke shook him down when he tried to remodel a Burger King restaurant that he owned. Chicago City staffers are asking the mayor's office and the city council to back a ceasefire in Gaza. A few staffers have signed a letter to the mayor and to city council members. Chicago Fire Department battled a blaze Tuesday afternoon at Calumet Fisheries that left extensive damage. Fire broke out around 1:15 in the 3200 block of East 95th. Later, fire officials ruled the blaze accidental due to an electrical issue. The restaurant was recently closed for failing a health inspection. Bulls take on OKC tonight, while the Blackhawks take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. The news, a service of the Fireplace and Chimney Authority, Chicagoland's largest and most respected fireplace and chimney company. Call to schedule your appointment today, 630-279-8500. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees a country lost.
The people who want business as usual want us to remain indebted because I guess 33 trillion isn't enough. The managed decline of America, who have surrendered their belief in the United States to the idea that, well, we're the problem.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Everybody needs an edge. The other guy is working on his edge right now, whether you have one or not. Testosterone levels are at an all-time low historically, and individual T levels in men decline 1% every year with age. There's a new champion of natural testosterone boosters, and it's called CHOQ. CHOQ. 100% natural herbal extracts with game-changing effects on your energy, mood, and focus. CHOQ Daily's main ingredient has been clinically studied to boost testosterone 20% in 90 days. Supercharge your masculinity with higher T and a massive boost of energy by taking CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack every day. Take the 90-day CHOQ Challenge and reap the benefits of the reigning champion of natural men's health with CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack. For a very limited time only, CHOQ, CHOQ, is giving our listeners a 30% discount with promo code USA. That's CHOQ.com, code USA, for 30% off while supplies last.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been around a long time. Every one of us, as we age, realizes that things are changing in our bodies, in the world around us. Lots of times I don't like what's happening, so what can I do about it? Well, the one thing we can do is pray, right? The other thing we can do is take better care of ourselves. I do that by taking Balance of Nature because I'm not really good at nutrition. I'm too busy, I'm on the run, and I don't eat enough vegetables, and I certainly don't eat enough fruit. And when I take Balance of Nature, I can feel good that I've done something for myself that I can actually control. So take control. Get Balance of Nature.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-2468-751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
7:06. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on 8094 jammed up westbound due to an earlier accident between Chase and Kennedy Avenue. Jane Addams on I-90, the toll road blocked, a left lane tied up with an accident eastbound on the Adams just after Meacham. Tri-State, slow and go northbound between the Reagan and the Eisenhower. South Suburbs 394 between Sauk Trail and Steger on the southbound side. There is a vehicle stuck under a semi in the intersection. Again, that's 394 southbound. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Times of clouds and sun. Good travel day today. The high 45. Clear tonight and the low 34. Sunny to partly cloudy on Thanksgiving. The high Thursday 47. It'll be variable cloudiness. A cold day on Friday. The high 37. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
34 officially at O'Hare. 34 Midway. 29 in Aurora. 32 in Lansing. And 39 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Catherine Boyle is a partner at Mark Andreessen's venture capital firm, Andreessen Horowitz. Yeah. Andreessen, billionaire, founder of Yahoo. U of I grad.
Oh, okay.
Remarkable speech she gave at this recent summit for venture capital firms, the Shifts Defense Ventures Summit. Really remarkable. I mean, I'm serious. Well, you're going to hear it, the pertinent parts. Whoever the Republican nominee is, let's say it's Trump since he's the obvious front runner,
right?
Should hire Catherine Boyle as a speechwriter, although she won't take it, that whatever that would be a massive pay cut, probably doesn't want the affiliation, do her own thing, but should certainly enlist her attitude and the way she presented these thoughts about America and what's at stake, how America maintains its hegemony, how we burnish our exceptionalism, and what threats we face. How do you win a war against America?
Because deep down, we know how you win a war against America. You win a war against America when we stop innovating, when we become scared of the technology and the drive that resides deep in our bones, when we cease to be the world's exporter of innovation and cede that role to the CCP or a global consortium of dunces. You win a war against America when we stop believing that technology is a force for good, but rather black magic to be scared of, feared, controlled, and ultimately extinguished by people who write white papers for a living. You win a war against America when you greet builders with suspicion, when your instinct is to squash the weirdos doing weird things on the frontier. You win a war against America when old companies become too big to fail and squash the new ones around them. When we trust age more than we trust vitality. When everything is old, from our infrastructure to our industrial base to our Congress people. because we've conquered and discouraged the new. You win a war against America when individual identity becomes more important than collective duty. When we turn inward and we focus on our neuroses rather than the needs of our families and our communities. 50 years ago, Philip Rieff called the modern man the psychological man in The Triumph of the Therapeutic, noting that psychological man is likely going nowhere, but aims to achieve a certain speed and certainty in his going there. In just 50 years, our new neuroticism is a meme who would mock men who would rather build things rather than go to therapy, an impulse that we used to celebrate in this country. You win a war against America when we believe the doom are memes and stop thinking that life has meaning at all. A recent Wall Street Journal poll found that faith, family, and the flag, the very things that used to define our national character, have eroded in the last 25 years. Less than 30% of people say that patriotism is important to them now, down from 70% only 2 decades ago. Religion, having children, community, all fared the same. You win a war against America when it's nihilism all the way down. You win a war against America when you believe the planet is fallen and you perpetuate your own extinction. When doom mongers are telling us that we'll need to bomb data centers and people in Washington take them seriously. You win a war against America when our great cities are ruled by crime rings. When businesses are shuttered because security is meaningless theater. When we deride our police. When good people are driven out by bad policy. You win a war against America when fentanyl pours across our borders, manufactured by an adversary that still remembers the opium wars and delivered by cartels that have no respect for human life. 100,000 of our countrymen and women are dead every year in a silent onslaught that's being met with a collective shrug. You win a war against America when toys like TikTok that give our enemies direct access to the anxious minds of teenagers. When you invest billions in the CCP's killer app and just pretend that's the way that business has to work. You win a war against America when you have us both sidesing terrorism. When nuance, and it's complicated, get in the way of condemning barbaric enemies who would slaughter children in their bedrooms as they plead for mercy. When the gleeful maiming and mutilation of entire families is met with a yes, but context. You win a war against America. You win a war against America when you no longer believe in good and evil, civilization and destruction. Just find people on both sides. You win a war against America when many in our media and universities are more aligned with the propaganda of Hamas than the interests of this country. When elite college kids down the street from where we are sitting right now would broadcast glory to our martyrs on their buildings, but would never dare honor a veteran. You win a war against America when the debate is no longer security versus privacy, but our more modern and far more dangerous debate of security versus grievance. You win a war against America when we can no longer speak freely in the land of free speech, when we consume more than we create, when we attack capitalism, the engine of our growth, as though we don't deserve and shouldn't celebrate the fruits of our building. You win a war against us when you have us clinging to false histories rather than the values that bind us together, when we've forgotten the beauty of this American experiment, when we cease to be a nation of builders, dreamers, and hustlers who like to work, who like to win, and who always seek to build anew. You win this war against America silently and methodically, and without even needing to fire a single shot.
Any questions? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Did she leave anything out?
I think she covered it all.
I think she did too. That was pretty comprehensive. That was quite a riff, which is why I wanted everybody to hear all of it. A lot of territory covered there. And the dichotomy she presented couldn't have been more poignant. I particularly like the people who would honor a martyr, quote-unquote a martyr, a terrorist that they call a martyr, but would never think to honor a veteran of this country. Like those animals at these Ivy League schools celebrating barbarism. But I mean, just the larger distillation of all of the self-inflicted wounds and how those wounds are not being treated, from the identitarianism that she referenced to the hatred it foments. Thomas Sowell. If the left got its way, if the identitarian left got its way, everything it wanted tomorrow, what would be happening? We'd be killing each other. Mm-hmm. How do you win a war against America? Okay, so that's how you win it. It's happening. How does America fight back against mostly, not exclusively, of course, she mentioned the CCP and TikTok being one illustration, but it's mostly internal.
We know that technology is the escape hatch for a nihilistic world, and that democracy demands a sword, and sometimes we have to use it to defend ourselves, our allies, and civilization. Now, some people have been critical of us that we named this movement American Dynamism. But I'll tell you, never have two words in the investing community meant so much and stood for something so real, civilizational truth. We often focus on the word America, the obvious beneficiary of our building. But American was meant not only as a symbol of what we build for, but the unseriousness we reject. A global elite that would be so foolish and so inane as to have Iran chair the UN's most recent human rights convention. America is order. That is the order we want. It's the order our allies want, and we should never be ashamed to say that. But even more important than us choosing the word America is the word dynamism, the teleological end to technology supremacy. We aren't American defense or defense tech or hard tech or deep tech or future tech or American deterrence. All of those things are a means to an end. But what is that end? Dynamism is growth, movement, momentum, and opportunity. In the Techno-Optimist Manifesto, Marc Andreessen said, "We believe everything good is downstream from growth. We believe not growing is stagnation, which leads to zero-sum thinking, infighting, degradation, collapse, and ultimately death. Dynamism is life. And we embrace dynamism and the values upon which this country was founded because they are true and they are worth defending. Dynamism makes America the country people want to be from, to immigrate to, and to build a life, a career, a family, or a company in."
By the way, Marc Andreessen's Techno-Optimist Manifesto is worth a read, too. You can read that at his Substack. And I think it said Andreessen was the founder of Yahoo, Netscape, not Yahoo.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Matt on the Expressway.
That woman must be a Gen Xer that grew up in the Reagan era. My thought is that we are at the intersection of the two most powerful generations, the most misguided and misinformed generations, which are the baby boomers and the millennials, have the most money and have the most power over everything. And that is how we ended up here.
Thanks for the call, Matt. Yeah, I think she probably is. I mean, I don't know her age, but just from watching the speech, looking at her, I think she's Gen X. I think she is. Yeah. Ron, Southside.
Good morning. You know, I'm not really concerned about her age. She was very clear, very succinct, covered every area like you said, Dan. So just thanks for playing that. That just kind of inspired me. And a lot of more people need to hear that. And you and Amy have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And thanks for playing that, Dan.
You too, Ron. Thanks for that. You know, I mean, it inspired me, too, just because, you know, you focus on the negativity and the beatings that we're taking all the time. And also because there's just a lack of individuals with platforms, particularly in the jet set venture capital space and the tech space, the billionaire and multi-millionaire class, which she's certainly a part of as a partner at Andreessen Horowitz. I can guarantee you that. Speaking with moral clarity about America and America's role in the world. I mean, you just don't hear that. You barely hear that from politicians. You certainly don't hear it from any Democrat. That sort of full-throated defense of America.
Yeah, the world's going to move forward. Is America going to lead the charge or not?
And it's just, I mean, it is. It's like spring water over your face. It's just that refreshing. Tony, Downers Grove.
Hey, Dan. Some of the things is it's been going on. We know we've talked about it. It's indoctrination of the students, of course, in education, but it's also when you're calling patriotism fascism, and you're equating it to that, putting nationalism in a bad light. But it's also the social media aspect. She was talking about technology. Now, I was on Netflix last night, and what do I see? Stamped from the beginning, based on Ibram Kendi's book. Mm-hmm. And I mean, what's the goal here? And that's the question that we have to attack. And I don't know if we're doing a good enough job. The other thing is, I have friends telling me, "Why do you go on Facebook? Why do you say things? Employers look at that; they'll fire you." And I said, "You guys realize what you're saying? I do realize what you're saying." And they said, "Well, it's been going on forever." And I'm like, "But you're talking about just an opinion. You're not talking about causing anyone harm. You're expressing your voice. You're pointing things out. And then I have to be afraid, even at my age, that if I want to go get employed, that I'm going to be looked at and I'm not going to get hired because of that. That's a sad state. Enjoy your Thanksgiving and try not to get into the geriatric discos down in Naples."
There you go. Thanks for the call, Tony. So just a little bit more from Catherine Boyle, because why not? She's on a roll.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let her have the last word on this segment. Ensuring America wins the war against her.
How do we win a slow and methodical, silent war being waged against us right now? Well, it takes will, and it takes courage. Every day I talk to young people who want to work in tech or become founders, and I ask them what should be a simple and obvious question. It should be instinctual to answer. Not about their product market fit or how they're taking a company from 5 to 50 people, but a more essential question. What do you believe? Why will people follow you? I might as well ask them, what is your creed? What will you shout from the rooftops, even if you're maligned for it? It's no accident now that when you go to the Andreessen Horowitz website, the first thing you see is a Walker Percy quote that summarizes the conundrum of modern leadership, the psychological man's predicament. You live in a deranged age, more deranged than usual, because despite great scientific and technological advances, man has not the faintest idea of who he is or what he is doing. To go back to that psychological man, he doesn't know where he's going, but he aims to achieve a certain speed and certainty in his going there. We don't win a war against evil ideologies unless we know who we are, what we stand for, and where we are headed. And if we lose this silent war, the silent war for American values, it will not be because we don't have the know-how to build missiles and hypersonics and attritable systems and all of the things that we are going to discuss today in haste. It will be because we doubt our inheritance, because we doubt the beauty and the nobility of the American experiment. And by sitting here today, by being here today, we are making a choice to build new things that may fail, because we believe not only can the future be better than the past, but it has to be better than the past. A choice to reject the ideology of doom and nihilism that permeates our culture. We choose to build for America, to fight for America, and to defend America's goodness despite her shortcomings and despite her critics, because we know that American dynamism is true and the key to a safer and more prosperous civilization.
Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
And yes, I will be tweeting out, and we'll tweet out from the station too, that Catherine Boyle speech that we were just playing riffs from. Absolutely. Please share far and wide. It is the season of Inspiration Sales event at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Dan Proft here. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You'll find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. There's no games, no gimmicks. Right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time Black Friday savings all month long. Right now, get 0.9% financing on select new 2024 Mazda CX-5s and select 2024 Mazda CX-90s for 36 months. Or get 2.9% financing on new 2024 Mazda CX-50s with approved credit through Mazda Financial Services for qualified buyers, plus tax, title, license, and the $347.26 doc fee. See dealer for details. And get your Mazda ready for winter. Schedule your next service appointment online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. That's WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda is conveniently located in Elmhurst off York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook downtown and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been around a long time. Every one of us, as we age, realizes that things are changing in our bodies, in the world around us. Lots of times I don't like what's happening, so what can I do about it? Well, the one thing we can do is pray, right? The other thing we can do is take better care of ourselves. I do that by taking Balance of Nature, because I'm not really good at nutrition. I'm too busy, I'm on the run, and I don't eat enough vegetables, and I certainly don't eat enough fruit. And when I take Balance of Nature, I can feel good that I've done something for myself that I can actually control. So take control. Get Balance of Nature.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-2468-751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax.
We started our company 10 years ago in an effort to help our fellow Christians experiencing tax issues resolve their matters by taking a simple 3-step approach.
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys that specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results. We're also a small firm who will treat you like family, not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
Proverbs 15:22 says, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed." Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, we'll talk to Steve Moore about the potential impact of Javier Milei, the new Argentine president, that is, at 7:37.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Gobble, gobble. Here's Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, 7:32 is our time. And this morning in Israel, Hamas and the Israeli government have reached a deal to release hostages.
This very complex deal could start moving as soon as tomorrow. And because they'll be coming out in groups of 10 to 12 people over a span of 4 to 5 days, it's going to be a little complex as far as what could happen over those days. Yeah, the U.S., Egyptian, and Qatari officials brokered this deal essentially, and Hamas will be releasing 50 hostages, both women and children. Now, in exchange, Israel will then get a 3-to-1 ratio, basically. Israel would be then releasing 150 Palestinian prisoners. Now, the hostages, as we understand, will be freed in groups of 10 to 12 people over a span of 4 to 5 days.
Fox's Jeff Paul is in Tel Aviv. The agreement approved by Israel's war cabinet includes that multi-day ceasefire that is temporary. The U.S. launching retaliatory strikes against Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. Central Command saying a round of strikes was launched early today against facilities backed by Iran involved in attacks on U.S. forces. Authorities say 2 adults and a girl were killed in a landslide in Alaska on Monday night. 3 others, including 2 children, are still missing. Chicago officials are making more moves to move migrants from police stations into shelters. Several migrants have been moved out of the 15th Police District on the west side. More, however, are likely to move in. And at 115th and Halstead in Morgan Park, a construction fence now stands where a Jewel Osco once stood, as plans are underway to convert that vacant lot into a migrant encampment.
Why would you put our taxpaying dollars on migrants and not on the people that have been living in this community for decades?
Annette Kane was protesting the development, but under a deal struck with the local alderman. The Johnson administration cannot use that site as a tent camp past November 1 of next year. Pro-life groups have gone to court to block Illinois' law that requires doctors to give pregnant patients information about abortion. Officials with several pregnancy resource centers are asking the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois to declare much of that law unconstitutional. Bulls take on OKC tonight. Blackhawks dropped the puck against Columbus at Nationwide Arena. College hoops last night. Illinois State edged by High Point, and Valparaiso beat Western Illinois. The news is a service of the Fireplace and Chimney Authority. Call to schedule your appointment today, 630-279-8500, or visit their showrooms in Lisle or Elmhurst, or online at fireplaceandchimneyauthority.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees only one end to the war in Israel.
As this war continues and more Palestinians are getting killed, the question is on the table. Is the cost of the human life of Gaza worth the eradication of Hamas? And I'm sorry, moral clarity tells us it is. This is war, and if they don't stop Hamas, they're going to do it over and over and over again.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There is a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45, non-smoker, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month, level rate for 10 years. Or a man age 50, non-smoker, can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 800-773-0433. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 800-773-0433. Remember, 800-773-0433. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker underwriting exam required to qualify. That number for Term Busters is 800-773-0433. 800-773-0433.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. You may have heard me on the radio sharing information about taxes, the IRS, or some other legal topic. Over these many years, I've learned quite a lot about helping business owners. It's pretty complicated out there. Business owners must always be learning just to keep up. So I've put together an email newsletter where I share information with business owners for free. That's right, no charge. All you have to do is go to radiotaxman.com and provide your email address. That's it. You may wonder why I would do that. Well, I know business owners are going to need help now and again. Tax returns, IRS trouble, business structuring, tax planning, and a whole lot more. I also know that if I share accurate, important information with you, information you can trust, you may give me an opportunity to help you. That's it. You don't have to ask for my help, but I want to offer it to you. Pretty simple. Go to radiotaxman.com right now and sign up for my email newsletter. That's radiotaxman.com. It's free. Together we can fight back now.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
Make the hiring process work for you. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
7:39. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Dan Ryan. 16 minutes and climbing from 95th into the Burns Circle. Express lanes are bound up between 47th and 35th due to an earlier accident. 394 is completely shut down on the southbound side between Sauk Trail and Stager. A vehicle is stuck under a semi. Bad accident there, and again, 394 southbound is shut down. Tri-State, stop and go northbound between the Reagan and the Ike. Fox Lake, US 12 northbound between Hardigan and Big Hollow, completely shut down due to a bad accident being tended to by local authorities. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sun today, a high of 45. Clear and 34 overnight. For Turkey Day, sunny to partly cloudy and a high of 47. Currently 35 at O'Hare, 39 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's really difficult to overstate the importance, at least in terms of promise. You know, the challenge will be to see if Javier Milei is as shrewd on the inside as he was on the outside. But the promise of what Milei could be for Argentina, and by extension South America, and by extension Central America, and by extension the Western Hemisphere. He is speaking with moral clarity, and the antics are entertaining, and it's okay to be entertaining. It makes important ideas accessible to people. You bring your ideas to where people actually live. That's a good thing. That's what Milton Friedman did. That's why he was on the Phil Donahue show all the time. That's why he did Free to Choose, making these important ideas about how a free society should be ordered, how commerce should be conducted among a free people, accessible to people. That's a good thing. But it's not the only thing. The Mises Institute, a couple scholars at the Ludwig von Mises Institute, today, talking about the Argentine election over the weekend, today is a historic day for liberty only comparable to the fall of the Berlin Wall and communism. Well, it could be. It could be. And if Milei is able to do, a quarter of what he is setting out to do, as he has articulated in no uncertain terms, then it will live up to that. Because that revolt that was sparked in Argentina and manifested itself in the results, his landslide victory this past weekend, that will spread to other countries. And if we get new leadership in this country next year and align with Milei, now we're really cooking with fire in the West. So that's perhaps an optimistic scenario, but it's a realistic one, given what happened, given his victory. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist and author of GovZilla. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, you are so right about the importance of this election. Now, I bet a lot of your listeners are like, well, why do I care about what's happening in Argentina? You know, that's, half a continent away from us. But, you know, it's a sonic boom politically, what happened there. I mean, for those who don't follow Argentina politics, I mean, this is a country, remember, Dan, that, 100 years ago was one of the 5 wealthiest countries in the world.
Yeah.
And it was almost on par with the United States in terms of its per capita income. Not quite, but close. So how do you go from being one of the richest countries in the world in 100 years to have despair and poverty everywhere in the country, where people's livelihoods have been ruined by socialist policies year after year after year. And one part of there's so much of the story that I find interesting, but just one little side point. The American media and the arts have celebrated the famous play Evita about Eva Perón.
Right.
She was not someone to be celebrated. She and Juan Perón destroyed Argentina. They turned Argentina from a free market country after World War II into the poorhouse with socialist policies. Why is it, Dan, that Evita is lionized here in America? It is
because of Madonna's portrayal. No, because because a lot of people don't know anything, and because Hollywood likes to glorify certain dictators. I mean, we know this. I mean, obviously you're right.
Yeah, but it's a side point. But my major point, though, is that now you have this. Finally, I mean, it's such a positive thing that happened there, because finally the people in Argentina finally rose up in revolt. And they finally said, this socialism is destroying our country. And it took them 40 years to realize that, Dan. But they finally are rising up in revolt.
There's hope for Illinois.
Yeah. How do you pronounce? Exactly. Is it Malo or how do you pronounce
that?
Milei.
Yeah.
So he wants to adopt the U.S. dollar as the national currency. Do you think
Yes. Very smart. Very smart. In fact, I was just writing a column on that this morning. They have to dollarize. Do you know what the inflation? By the way, it used to be that it would take about 4 pesos to buy Argentine pesos to buy a dollar. Like 20 years ago, 4 pesos to buy a dollar. Now it's like 300 pesos to buy a dollar. And I just had one of my good friends just got back to Argentina and said, that's just the official exchange rate. He said, if you're actually in Argentina, it's not 300, it's 600 pesos to get $1. In other words, they completely.
Well, yeah, they've got. I mean, we mentioned this on Monday in doing the review of what happened over the weekend. That October, the inflation rate in Argentina clocked in at 143%. So you think you're taking it in the shorts at a supermarket?
By the way, hold on. Yeah,
that was for the month.
Monthly.
For the month of October. Yes, right. I know. But I mean, my point is to say, you think you're taking it in the shorts in America at the grocery store, right? Think about if you're in Buenos Aires.
Yeah. Now the cool thing, I mean, there's so many interesting parts about this story. But this guy, he was campaigning. He at one point, Grover Norquist, no tax pledge. You know that
he took it. I know.
But he took it a step further. He went on national TV and said, "I will cut off my arm if I raise taxes." And then he went on another show, and they asked him, "What is he going to do about the budget?" And he came out with a chainsaw. He said, "I'm going to take a chainsaw to the budget." Boy, you need that in Chicago. We need that in Washington, D.C. So, I mean, there's hope. By the way, I just find it so funny. I mean, the international bankers, all these hoity-toity, political leaders are terrified by what's happening in Argentina.
Well, of course they are, because they see the possibility of exactly what I said. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of other countries struggling too. We mentioned this the other day too. Marco Rubio made a good point in an interview he gave to a Florida media outlet. This was before Milei's victory over the weekend. But he was talking about Central and South America, which, we don't talk perhaps enough about. We don't pay enough attention to when we're focused on China and Iran and Russia and the Middle East. But right in our backyard here, and how misaligned the Biden administration is with partners we could have in the region, but have given up on America because, just like we see overseas with the Iran nuclear deal and our energy policy, we treat our enemies like our friends, and we cut deals with our enemies while we give our allies a hard time because we disagree with a particular policy that doesn't fit our leftist orthodoxy. And he gave many examples, El Salvador, Bukele, in Guatemala as well, when the Dominican was dealing with a migrant problem with Haitians coming across their border. I mean, and so the idea, that's why I said a big caveat to this, it seems to me, is we need to get new leadership in this country for all kinds of reasons, but one of them is so we can align with our allies in Central and South America.
Well, how can we do that when we've got a president who's aligning himself with China? I mean, you saw what happened last week, in San Francisco. It was just, Amy, it was an outrage. And by the way, I'm just not poking up my finger at Biden. How about these CEOs, Dan and Amy, of major American companies, from Google to BlackRock to Blackstone to J.P. Morgan? They gave President Xi, who's like, a tyrant, a standing ovation. I mean, look, I'm for the almighty dollar. I'm for American companies to be profitable. But how about a little patriotism here? I mean, we're on the verge of World War III with China. It's like the appeasement of Hitler in the 1930s. It's the craziest thing that these companies and Biden. Why does Biden do that, by the way? Why does Biden suck up to China? Because when he goes over there, or John Kerry goes over there, they say, "Oh yeah, we care about climate change." And, "Oh well, he cares about climate change. He must be one of our allies." By the way, they don't care about climate change. They're just using us. And so it's just like we have a confederacy of dunces in America that don't realize who our friends are and who our allies are. We need to embrace, as Reagan did, the people who stand for freedom and free enterprise and peace.
And everybody should read John Kennedy Toole's book, Confederacy of Dunces, since you brought it up, too, while they're at it. Speaking of...
just one other quick thing, because I never answered Amy's question about dollarizing. Yes.
Well, of course.
This is what they need to do. This is, by the way, one of the ways China got rich in the starting in the late 80s through around the recent times. They dollarized the yuan. And so they basically contracted out their monetary system to the more stable dollar. That's when we had a stable dollar. And boy, that was a big part of China's huge success. And Argentina needs to do that.
Well, the other thing he wants to do is eliminate the central bank. I mean, I don't want to put Jay Powell out of a job here, but exactly. I'd like to see that.
Oh my God, that's why central bankers are just. I mean, I've been reading all the stories of, oh my God, this guy's the most dangerous tyrant that's ever walked on the planet.
Right. He's the tyrant when he says, look, private business, you want to do business with communists, that's fine. But as a government, I'm not signing any pacts with communists in China or Nicaragua or Cuba or Venezuela. And just first of all, the statement about the anti-communist statement is one layer of it. And the other layer is a politician who actually distinguishes between the state and the private sector.
Yes. Yep. I mean, he is a little bit like Trump in the sense that he's an economic populist, and he understands the rage of the citizenry around. People are just sick of big government, and people are sick of government telling people what they can do and what they can't do. Trump tapped into that. So did this new Argentinian president. And I think this could be like this could spread around the world. And wouldn't that make the world a better place if we got rid of these arrogant politicians who think they know all the answers and take away our money and inflate our currency? And you look at Argentina, by the way, folks, pay attention. How did they get into that crisis? They borrowed and massively increased their debt and the size of government. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, a lot of it does. Steve Moore, economist, Govzilla author. Thanks for, as always, Steve. Thanks.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Homeowners experiencing low water pressure, rusty yellow water, little to no hot water, or pressure so low that showering is difficult?
Honey, don't flush. I'm in the shower.
These are all symptoms of clogged and corroded galvanized water pipes that are filled with gunk older than you. You should see it. It's disgusting. You drink it, brush your teeth with it, and bathe in it. Yuck. For your family's sake, repipe your home with quality PEX or copper pipes from All Affordable Plumbing. We're your local family-owned and operated repiping expert. We can repipe your home in 1 to 3 days with minimal disturbance, and we include a lifetime guarantee. And for a limited time, we're offering 12-month no-interest, no-payment financing and a free water heater. So if you have low water pressure, call for a free in-home estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. That's 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. If you have low water pressure, a copper repipe will get you flowing again. Call for a free estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE. That's 800-NEW-PIPE.
You know, we're all planning our meals for tomorrow, what we're going to make, but can you imagine not knowing where your next meal is coming from? Well, that's a reality millions of people face in Latin America and the Caribbean. We have economic decline, unemployment, rising food costs, and again, millions of children and their families are suffering. That's why we've partnered once again with Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is a faith-based nonprofit relief organization that works directly with their partners on the ground. I've seen it with my own eyes in Latin America and the Caribbean to operate feeding centers. So this relationship ensures that the money we raise during this campaign is used efficiently to get the food to the children who need it most. We're asking for a one-time gift of $80. With that, you could feed 2 children for a year. Actually, we'll take any donation because the impact that your gift will give to the millions of people who need food. The number to call is 844-862-4673, 844-862-4673, or just visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. Give a gift, for those who are less fortunate this time of year. But listen up, if you are a business benefactor or you make the marketing decisions for your company and you thought, you know what, maybe I want to dip into advertising, or maybe I want to take this company to the next level, this is the best deal in all of Chicago radio. $2,500. Tax-deductible donation. The money goes to Food for the Poor. And as a way of saying thank you, we're going to give you 40 one-minute commercials. Think about that. $2,500. You help those less fortunate, but you get 40 one-minute commercials. That is the best deal in all of Chicagoland radio. To become a business benefactor, call Ann Jeanette Natowski. Ann Jeanette's number. Are you ready? You got to write this down. 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. We have a number of companies that started out with us as business benefactors, and they succeeded. They're successful companies, and they're still with us today. 847-472-8951. And we thank you in advance for your generosity.
Structural foundation problems? Permaseal can help. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Last year's severe drought has homeowners across Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana experiencing symptoms of structural foundation issues. Cracked brickwork or caulking, uneven floors, new cracks in the drywall or ceiling, doors or windows that no longer open or shut properly, or basement walls that are leaning or bowing. All of these can be signs of a structural foundation issue. Too often we hear of homeowners paying for an expensive consultation just to determine the problem. Don't be one of them. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. Our certified structural consultants will thoroughly evaluate your foundation and offer you a permanent solution at absolutely no charge. Life's frustrating enough. Let's fix what we can and avoid even bigger problems. Call Permaseal today, 800-421-7325, or visit permaseal.net.
Known best for being better, Permaseal.
Have you saved enough? What are you going to do with Social Security? What will your taxes look like in retirement? Scott Tucker believes retirement planning should be easy, and you should be able to get all the information you need in one place. That's why Scott created the Retirement Decoded Toolkit, a comprehensive resource for your retirement. In it, you'll find a copy of his latest book, Escape Illinois: Should I Stay or Should I Go? This book will provide insight on taxes, Social Security, income, and more. To get your free Retirement Decoded Toolkit, text KIT, K-I-T, to 847-474-3888, or go to retirementdecoded.com. Now, in addition to the book, you'll also receive resources on retirement's most common concerns. Get your Retirement Decoded Toolkit from Scott Tucker right now by texting KIT to 847-474-3888, or go to retirementdecoded.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. A registered investment advisor, this is a paid placement.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored, self-inject, at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy, shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, that sad little man, Tony Fauci, is singing a different tune on COVID vaccine mandates. We'll start there with John Miltimore from the Foundation for Economic Education at 8:08.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
An effort to move migrants from police stations to shelters is ramping up. An arrest made in an attack on children. Bulls visit the Thunder and the Blackhawks take on the Blue Jackets, while the White Sox sign a shortstop. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
They're hoping it's their loved ones who are freed. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. But the relatives of the hostages Hamas took in the terror attack last month in Israel don't yet know who's going to be set free first in the deal the U.S. helped broker.
We haven't heard anything. We don't know anything yet. We're hopeful, but we don't know.
5 of Efrat Mashikawa's relatives are held captive. 2 of them are young children, and she tells Fox,
whoever comes alive is blessed, and so would be the others. We are here to wait for all the 240 coming back. as soon as possible.
But Fox's Jonathan Savage reports only 50 hostages will be set free in this agreement starting tomorrow.
Released in stages by Hamas over the 4 days, Israel will free 150 Palestinian prisoners in return. Those released by both sides will be women and children. The United States, Qatar and Egypt have all played a part in brokering this deal. The Qataris say it'll also see more fuel and humanitarian aid enter Gaza.
Meanwhile, the fighting rages inside Gaza, where smoke still rises today as Israel keeps attacking Hamas militants. Today marks 60 years since the shooting that shocked America, President John F. Kennedy's assassination in Dallas, Texas. President Biden just put out a statement calling it a defining moment of deep trauma and loss, and he and millions of people still remember exactly where they were when they heard the news. More Americans are on the move the day before Thanksgiving in what's expected to be the busiest holiday travel yet for air travel.
I mean, I thought I was early, but now I have to stand in this line. I think I'll still make my flight, though.
There was like a big line, so now we are worried.
They're flying out of Newark, New Jersey. FlightAware reports just 45 cancellations nationwide this morning, but more than 500 delays. There was a big drop in new unemployment last week. 24,000 fewer first-time jobless claims, down to 209,000. The claims the week prior were the most since August. America's listening to Fox News.
Partly cloudy skies, 34 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago firefighters battle a massive extra alarm fire in a Logan Square warehouse overnight into this morning. Fire broke out just before midnight in the 2700 block of North Pulaski Road. Bodies of a man and boy were found in an apartment in Logan Square Tuesday night. Chicago police say they responded to a call around 10:16 p.m. to the 3500 block of West Lyndale for a well-being check. Officers then found the bodies of a 40-year-old man and 6-year-old boy. Police say it appeared the bodies were in a state of decomposition. The search is on for 5 armed men accused of forcing their way into a home and attacking 3 inside a Northwest Indiana home. Home invasion happened in Munster, Indiana, late last month. Thousands of dollars in items were stolen. The incident lasted about 90 minutes. Neighbors' surveillance cameras captured images of the suspect seen in yellow reflective vests. Pro-life groups have gone to court to block Illinois' law that requires doctors to give pregnant patients information about abortion. Officials with several pregnancy resource centers are asking the district court to declare parts of the law unconstitutional. The Bulls take on Oklahoma City tonight. The Blackhawks skate against Columbus. Preparing for high school football this weekend. Your 3A game is Mount Carmel and Byron. Your 4A game, St. Lawrence, takes on Rochester. Your 5A football game for the boys, Naz and Joliet Academy. 6A, Cary Grove takes on East St. Louis Senior. 7A, Downers North takes on Mount Carmel. And the 8A title game in high school football, Loyola Academy takes on Lincoln Way West. The news service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
OpenAI brings Sam Altman back less than a week after he was ousted by the board of directors of the artificial intelligence startup. On Monday, hundreds of employees protested the company co-founder's removal, signing a letter saying if the board didn't resign and bring Altman back, the overwhelming majority of them would move to work with him at Microsoft. Most of the board members behind his removal are now themselves out, and the company has announced the formation of a new initial board. A labor group is gearing up for a board fight at Starbucks. The coalition of labor unions is looking to nab 3 seats on the coffee giant's board, according to the Wall Street Journal. The aim is to address what it views as a failure by the board to oversee the company's treatment of its workers. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu. Invested in you.
AM 560 news time is 8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Do you want more online safety and privacy? I know I do. That's why I started using NordVPN. It guards me against various internet threats. Digital trackers, malicious websites, and malware-infected downloads? Back off. I choose to browse with more confidence. I choose NordVPN.
To avoid digital threats, turn on NordVPN. It's rated excellent on Trustpilot. Just visit NordVPN.com. One of the fastest VPNs on Earth will block web trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. It will encrypt your online data as well. So improve your digital privacy and protection with one simple click. Get the special Black Friday deal at NordVPN.com and enjoy safer internet daily. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them, and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day, and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
Everybody needs an edge. The other guy is working on his edge right now, whether you have one or not. Testosterone levels are at an all-time low historically, and individual T levels in men decline 1% every year with age. There's a new champion of natural testosterone boosters, and it's called CHOQ, C-H-O-Q. 100% natural herbal extracts with game-changing effects on your energy, mood, and focus. CHOQ Daily's main ingredient has been clinically studied to boost testosterone 20% in 90 days. Supercharge your masculinity with higher T and a massive boost of energy by taking CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack every day. Take the 90-day CHOQ Challenge and reap the benefits of the reigning champion of natural men's health with CHOQ's Male Vitality Stack. For a very limited time only, CHOQ, C-H-O-Q, is giving our listeners a 30% discount with promo code USA. That's CHOQ.com, code USA, for 30% off while supplies last.
It's 8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Fox Lake, commuters on US 12 northbound. You have your road reopened between Hartigan and Big Hollow. Due to a much earlier accident, things have been shut down for some time. As you're traveling on the Tri-State this morning, we're spotting delays northbound Reagan to the Eisenhower. 394 remains shut down southbound between Sauk Trail and Steger due to a bad accident. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sun today, a high of 45. Clear and 34 overnight. Currently 35 at O'Hare. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Good piece about K through 12 education from our next guest, John Miltimore, in which he reminds us what Carl Sagan said decades ago. You know Carl Sagan, billions and billions of stars. That Carl Sagan, American astronomer.
Mm-hmm.
My experience is, this is Sagan, my experience is you go talk to kindergarten kids or first grade kids, you find a class full of science enthusiasts. And they ask deep questions. What is a dream? Why do we have toes? Why is the moon round? What is the birthday of the world? Why is grass green? These are profound, important questions. They just bubble right out of them. You go talk to 12th grade students and there's none of that. They've become leaden and incurious. Something terrible has happened between kindergarten and 12th grade, and it's not just puberty. Well, I mean, boy, if that was Sagan's observation several decades ago, what would it be now? Because things have gotten markedly worse, in part because, as I am wont to argue, so little has changed in the intervening time. Even with what we know to be true about how kids learn, it doesn't matter. All we've done is funnel more money on the front end and be satisfied with credentials on the back end, even if those credentials don't mean much, and certainly don't mean as much as they did several generations ago. Well, we talked a bit earlier in the show, that Catherine Boyle speech about America's silent war, those who seek to undermine America. How do you win a war against America? How about by destroying the schools from the inside? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by the aforementioned John Miltimore, who is the editor at the Foundation for Economic Education, FEE.org. John, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Dan.
Yeah, so I mean, just develop, since it's your piece, you pulled a Sagan reference from a bygone era, which is a great one. Your distillation of that, including as per a conversation you had with a cheesehead, a friend of yours.
Yeah, no, I am a cheesehead. We got the big game tomorrow. Yeah, for me it was amazing seeing Carl Sagan see something that he observed that we're not supposed to talk about in America. We're really supposed to kind of cheer on the school system and talk about how great it is. Sagan looked at it and he saw something, very different. And he doesn't say why the schools were failing. That's something I talk about in the article. But first, I was just impressed that he said this, and he was being challenged during his interview when he said it. And he said, no, our schools are failing. And the truth is, we do run schools today almost like prisons. They're very regimented, very structured. And it is a system that has been failing for decades. If you go back, since the Department of Education was launched in the mid-1970s, we've gotten worse across everything. Every metric we have, we've gotten worse, even though we keep spending more and more money. I think in Chicago there, the average, per capita spending is close to $30,000. Mm-hmm. And the thing that Sagan didn't address, like I said, is why they're failing. But I think we got to just acknowledge it is a system. The system we have does not work, no matter how much we fund it. And this is something I just had a parent-teacher conference with my daughter's middle school, and I was so impressed. The teachers themselves, this is not about the teachers. I think this is something people need to understand. There are good individuals in school systems. They care about your kids. They want to educate your kids. They want a good school. It's the system that is a disaster. It has all the wrong incentives. It's really about churning out money. It's about empowering unions. It has all the wrong incentives, and we've been ignoring it for decades.
Well, right. And the good news is that school choice is on the march in a lot of places. But the bad news is it's still painstaking, the expansion, particularly depending on the political power structure in a given state. Even in Texas, where they struggle to see school choice advance.
It is, and this isn't, something as simple as Democrat and Republicans. If you look, there's a lot of, Democrats in cities who are getting behind the school choice movement. Whereas, like, you look at in Texas, unions really have a good foothold in the Republican Party there. There's a lot of Republicans who are vociferously opposing school choice. So this is complex politically, but I think you're right. The march is on. Like, and it's largely because Americans are finally seeing what Carl Sagan saw 30 years ago. They're seeing that this isn't working. And when you pointed out, when Sagan first observed that, okay, I was in school about that time. I was in high school, maybe middle school when he wrote that. I'm like, I would have thought, my school's okay. But he saw how bad they were, and since then it's gotten so much worse. Kids are just inundated with all kinds of, let's face it, it's more propaganda. They're getting lots of social justice indoctrination, gender ideology, and all this. And there are, and they're still getting some math and English along the way. And as I said, there's good teachers in there, but the system has all the wrong incentives.
And then, translating, that no more was this on display than during COVID. And I noted that you took judicial notice of that sad little man, Tony Fauci, doing a bit of an about-face on vaccine mandates these days.
Yeah, well, for listeners who don't know, and they probably don't, it got almost no media coverage. Fauci now thinks it's okay that every American should have the choice of whether or not they get vaccinated. He didn't use those words, but he is very clear. He used the word choice, and then he said, quote, make the vaccine available to everyone, but certainly recommend it to high-risk people. So he's even saying high-risk people, we should just recommend the vaccine to them and not force them. And to me, this is very noteworthy. Throughout the pandemic, he always talked about vaccine mandates and supported them because he said they worked. They worked in the sense that it got people to do what he wanted them to do. But, that really isn't a scientific approach. He should be saying why he thinks vaccination is good and leave the ethics, that's an ethical question, not a scientific question about whether somebody should be coerced into taking this. He should have left that for other people. But throughout this, he really took his approach as, I am the science, and here's what I say, and this is what you should do.
Right, and don't deny science. You're denying me. But also, he did lie to the American people and said, if you get vaccinated, you can't give anybody COVID or get COVID, which was a bold-faced lie. So why do you think
over and over, and it wasn't just Fauci that made that claim, right? And that you could smell that one out from the beginning. The fact that this idea that if you got vaccinated, you couldn't get COVID, you couldn't spread COVID, and that might be part of the reason he's done this about face is just the simple acknowledgement that the vaccines aren't doing what they initially claimed they could do.
Well, not to mention, we're still trying to recover from the policy response to COVID, the K through 12 schools. There's been a lot of ink spilled over that. That's obvious. Also, this headline this week, Army scrambling to get back soldiers it kicked out over Biden's military vaccine mandate. So, we have a recruitment problem in our military ranks, too. And now they're trying to mea culpa some of these guys to get back into serving our country in uniform again. Another consequence.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, this is really, the politics of this has shifted a lot. And another little notice story, the DOJ, you can go out there, they're hiring, I think it's 8 or 10 new lawyers. The DOJ is preparing for a big lawsuit. And under federal law, people that were injured by the vaccine, they can't sue Pfizer or Moderna, but they are, they're suing the Department of Justice on this. And there was recently a federal court case in Louisiana that advanced. So the politics of this are suddenly much more dicey. And I think that's what Fauci, he was always somebody that was going to take the path of least resistance. He wasn't acting on principle. He wasn't acting on science. I think he had some of those mixed in there, but really he was kind of doing what made sense politically at the time, which is why now suddenly he's singing a very different song on vaccine mandates. I'm glad he's come around and acknowledges that Americans should have the choice whether to take the vaccine or not. It's just a shame it took him so long to get here.
But these numbers are astronomical to me. 8,000 U.S. service members were discharged from the military for refusing to take the vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, look beyond even that. Look at how many people, private workers that were nurses, and all these people that were fired because they decided they didn't want to take this. And this isn't whether or not vaccines are good or bad, right? Like, I'm not. I I encouraged some loved ones during the pandemic. I said, you're probably somebody that should maybe consider this. It wasn't about that. It was about who got to choose what was best for them.
John Milton Moore is the editor at fee.org, FEE.org, Foundation for Economic Education. John, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, you too. And if you want to check him out on Twitter, Miltmore79, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them, and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day, and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code KLG.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored, self-inject, at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, visit surroundchicago.com. Remember to visit surroundchicago.com today.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. China exerts a strange power over America's leftist elites. Increasingly, it seems like the allure of the communist power causes them to check all ethics at the door. After visiting China to talk climate change, Gavin Newsom has strengthened ties with Chinese Communist Party-linked climate groups. Newsom won't criticize China for building 6 times more coal plants than other countries. And in his meetings with Xi Jinping, Newsom refused to discuss China's genocide against the Uyghurs. CEOs of some of America's most powerful corporations are similarly deferential. Apple CEO Tim Cook pulled Apple's advertising on X because of Elon Musk's alleged anti-Semitic words. Yet the same week, he happily dined next to Xi, a communist dictator guilty of human rights abuses, head of a country that steals our trade secrets and views America as an adversary. The priorities of the leftist elite on China are out of step with everyday Americans.
AM 560, The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's Open Mic Wednesday because this is our Friday because of the holiday, obviously. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Taking your calls with comments, compliments, concerns, criticisms, general correct pottery. We'll take it all. And, of course, Open Mic Friday/Wednesday. Brought to you by turnkey.pro. And we're pleased to be joined by turnkey.pro founder David Kolsak.
Oh,
Dave.
Hello, David.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you guys today?
Good morning.
Great.
Happy early Thanksgiving to you and your family. So much going on in the world. Feels like we're drinking water through a fire hose, right? I don't think I have any questions today, so you'll be happy about that. Today I want to start by making a confession. So I'm a brutally honest person. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm brutally honest. If you ask me, if you look fat in that dress, I'm going to tell you it's not the dress, but rather you. But it might be my
Your wife is a very lucky woman.
Yeah, well, his wife's
Well,
beautiful.
yeah, she's very trim, though. I mean, she's trim. Yeah.
I understand.
But anyway, it may be my best quality, but it's also my worst quality, right? I can't lie. I can embellish. I'm a salesperson, certainly, but I can't lie on important things. And so I knew at a very young age that I was a polarizing guy. Either you loved me or you hated me. That's just the way it went, right? It's just, but telling the truth is really hard for a lot of people and almost impossible today, right, in the mainstream media, right? Truth is punished a lot by today's standards. Even if you believe in something, others might find the opposite of what we've been taught our whole lives. Like we had better rocket technology in 1969 than we do today, something like that. But what we see in the mainstream media is really an inverted truth with a smile. They do so well at convincing you, what they say is true. It's propaganda, and that's why I turned them off years ago. So I want to start by reading something by a person called BioClandestine on X, and he talks about X. He said, did you happen to notice from 2020 until now that there's been a 30-point shift in favor of Trump among voters ages 13 through 34? Why? Because free speech on X, nearly 60% of X's 556 million users are ages 18 to 34. There's a direct correlation between Elon taking over Twitter and the shift in public perception, especially among the young generations. They're finally being exposed to deep state corruption because of opposing viewpoints that weren't allowed to be voiced on X in real time to massive global audience. And now they are, I should say. The conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East have done irreparable damage to Biden's approval. The truth about these situations is only made available due to Elon Musk's control of the ascension of citizen journalist movement. The younger voters are not learning the truth by watching the mainstream media. They're getting red-pilled on X. This is why the deep state feared what they feared would happen when Elon took over. This is why they fought him tooth and nail and set all the dogs loose on him. This is why media matters, and the American Defamation League are trying to smear Elon and making false allegations about widespread anti-Semitism. They knew that if there was a free marketplace of ideas and opinions, that their propaganda would not be able to survive. And sure enough, once free speech was introduced, their control of the narrative dissipated rapidly and substantially. We are winning. So anyway, that's what he wrote. And I just recently watched the Tucker Carlson thing on X in his latest speech in Las Vegas. It was a riveting 30 minutes, and I would encourage people to watch it. It's his latest release, so if you can find it easily. He summed it up in 30 minutes, and millions of others can probably empathize with what he's saying. People are either angry or they're paranoid or both. And so I want to go back to like instincts and the idea of us having our own intuition. You can see intuition and instincts in animals for that matter. Dogs, they have instincts. They know when you're sad, when you're happy, if you're leaving the house on vacation, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Cows, they lie down in fields, before it rains. People get nervous and jittery when they sense that something bad's going to happen. And the truth is that when we have a visceral instinct, we react to it that way. You have to listen to your gut and follow it. So, maybe you should buy some gold and silver and some more ammo too. But that's happening right now. People are angry and or paranoid, and that's what's happening this Thanksgiving. So people that I personally talk to are asking me, what should we do in this upside down world? We're living in a really dark time with dark people that are ruling us, and the stakes are really the ultimate stakes. And after watching Tucker yesterday, he distilled that you simply need to tell the truth. writing your congressman won't help. Going to your local board meeting, although great, and you should do it, might not help. But telling the truth is, you have to do it in a kind manner, and you have to, just really be committed to the truth. And what will happen if you're steadfast in telling the truth? It has to be your defense. You have to be able to tell it in all circumstances. And number one, what happens is the truth will be appealing to others. Women love strong men. I mean, Amy, you can say that, women are attracted to men who are strong. They're not attracted to weak women. And children are attracted to parents, and they love their parents more because they're strong.
Yep.
Secondly,
they want rules and boundaries. Trust me.
Completely. And the truth will make you stronger. Doing things like that and telling the truth will make others see it, and it will spread like wildfire. Even dogs will know that you're when you're telling the truth, you're stronger. And the biggest thing I think that the world worries about, the mainstream media and everybody worries about, is that the normal worker becomes awake and says, you know what, I'm not going to go to that DEI training. I'm just not going to do it. I don't believe in it. I think that's not for me. And when the world stands up, it's going to be a better place. So again, if enough people tell the truth, not violently protest or call to arms, none of that stuff, just tell the truth, do it kindly and with your heart, this whole nonsensical charade of lies is going to stop. And if you've not listened to that Tucker thing, please do so. It's a good thing to be honest, and very difficult in this cancel culture world. And as Tucker said so eloquently, always trust your gut. If you feel like they're lying to you, they are. So have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Here's a bite from Tucker Carlson from that speech that Kolsak was referencing, and it's on opting out. Take a listen.
Tell the truth persistently, quietly, gently, politely, not spray painting it on buildings, just no, in a dignified way, no, I'm not doing that, sorry. And here's why. If you're interested, I'll tell you, but I'm a free man and I'm not doing that, ever. The third thing that happens if you adopt that posture is that they will back off. Because liars are weak. They are weak and afraid. They can't even admit that the president's senile. They are hiding behind a facade of lies. But the operative word, the verb in that sentence is hiding. They're hiding. Who hides? Weak people hide. Scared people hide. People who can't stand sunlight hide. That's who hides, and that's exactly what they're doing. They are weak, and they are afraid of the population. And I'm sad to say the population has given them very little reason to be afraid. But they're still afraid because they know they're doing wrong. They know they're serving lies. They know nothing they do or say is justifiable, can withstand scrutiny. And on some animal level, they are terrified of the day that the average person, not some stupid talk show host, but the average person who works at some big dopey company and shuffles to work every day in some pod with a drop ceiling and fluorescent lighting, that guy is gonna be like, nope, I'm not going along with it, sorry. I'm not going to the DEI meeting today because I don't think you should discriminate people on the basis of their race. How's that? Because it's immoral, actually. And we've got a monument on the mall that shows that it's immoral. It's to Martin Luther King. And that was his core message. We're not going to discriminate against people on the basis of their skin color, period, for any reason. It's always wrong. This is immoral. I'm not participating. If enough people do that and things like it, this whole nonsense will end immediately. That's the one thing they can't handle. You don't have to take to the streets. You don't have to take Saturday off to hold a candle, carry some stupid spray-painted sign on a bed sheet. All you need to do is tell the HR lady, I'm opting out, and here's why. And I hope you will. Thank you.
Opting out. I mean, you sort of see that happening per our discussion a couple times this morning on COVID. People are opting out. I'm not taking it. I'm not listening to you.
Listening to them. Yeah.
Yeah. My kid's not getting the 70-second booster. I'm not doing it.
I'm not vaccinating a 6-month-old. Are they out of their minds?
So we just need to see a little bit more of that across a range of other issues that directly impact people's quality of life and the freedom under which they're allowed to live it. Will Skokie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how you doing? I was listening to an interview, I think, between Tucker and the new president of Venezuela, And he brought up a great
Argentina, you mean?
Argentina, I'm sorry, you're right. He basically said that socialism lets the needs of some become the rights of all. And so basically what we have with kids now, kids have needs, and they think that they have a constitutional right to have those needs filled. This is the people where we get, the guarantee for a basic income, the guarantee for housing, the guarantee for everything. And people have to learn, no, you got to work for stuff. And that's, I think, one of the things that we have to inculcate into the society today. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Will. Good call. Tom, Blue Island.
Hey, Dan and Amy, happy Thanksgiving. Dan wanted to regale a quick story of a gentleman named Jeffrey Holt, who was a resident of Hinsdale.
I saw that story.
Not Hinsdale, Illinois, Hinsdale, New Hampshire.
$4 million.
Died the day before yesterday, and he drove a tractor. He mowed the lawn around Hinsdale there. He had a trailer with no furniture in it, and everyone assumed that he was destitute, and in actuality, he was worth somewhere around $3.5 to $4 million. He was the son of 2 college professors. He had no real family, and he took the $3.5 to $4 million that he had, and he gave it to the village. The town administrator's name is Catherine Lynch, and Dan, she promised to spend the money as frugally as Mr. Holt had spent all his years earning it.
Okay, and your
and I just
comments?
I got a heck of a kick out of the fact that the guy spends his whole life saving all his money. He's the child of a couple college professors. He never has any kids, and when he dies, he gives all his money to the state, and that seems to me a perfect leftist life.
Thanks for the call. So that's maybe a little bit less of a charitable view than is probably due that gentleman. I mean, it's a small community, probably somebody that he trusted, grants for the parks and so on and so forth that he enjoyed. I mean, we don't have to infuse politics into everything. That's what the left does. I read that story. I didn't see it as particularly political, or that he was being particularly political, or that he was some sort of, statist automaton. I mean, I don't know.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, please tell your audience to watch the German film The Lives of Others. It's about the life under German Stasi. It's an excellent film, one of my favorites.
No, it's a great film.
Yeah.
Everybody should have already seen it. What are you doing? It's got to be 15 years old.
Well, somebody text in. Come on. It's
well, I know, but
I know. You might have some time on your hands. It was just a message from a listener.
Yeah, I got it, and I'm commenting on that message. That's what I do on this show. I comment. I make comments. Do you not know how this works?
No,
and so my comment is like, you keep up on your important cultural offerings, God's sakes. And you can comment on my comment and be exasperated and do your whole woe is me bull jive.
It's Thanksgiving. We're lighting up.
I'm perfectly light. Kip in Stillman Valley.
Oh, you know what? This is great. I'm glad you came to me, because I'm going to say I was going to talk about all the corrupt people that are in politics and the lawyers and that got Barack Obama into the Senate of Illinois. But I'm going to stop right there. Blagojevich, Pritzker, you think it out, man. Who's carrying Joe Biden and the presidency? It's the same people, but I want to go to the turkey dinner. You know what I like?
Have you got into the Thanksgiving wine already, Kip? Anyway,
of course. I'm in the holiday spirit. Well,
yes.
I'm going to the carcass of the turkey. Well, you got to boil the bones down in that bone marrow soup, and then have turkey and dumpling soup.
Okay.
Isn't that wonderful? I love turkey and dumplings. That's my grandmother's, the Pulaski's, right next to over there by the Rydowskis, next to the Top Dog
lot of
shop
skis.
by Zaire's.
They're going to the
You
Jewels.
take the bus to the frickin' Cub game. All right, I love you all. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas.
Oh boy, Merry Christmas got kicked in there too. Yeah, I think
Happy New Year.
I think
I think he said-
people that are going to have Thanksgiving dinner with Kip should be forewarned. Appreciate the call.
Fun guy there.
James in Schaumburg.
Morning, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody keeps the holiday and general idea that it's an allegory in many respects, not drilled down into the details, but just enjoy the day with your family as best you can. But I wanted to comment on the education theme we got going here. The education, K through 12, it's awful. This is being destroyed. I mean, I have information with respect to like District 211 and all that, and our good teachers that are wanting to do the right job, but the structures and the reinforcement from the administration, right on through funding, is destroying the education that our children are supposed to have. And it carries right up through, as the gentleman was talking earlier in the program, about the recruits that we get out of Harvard to the different intelligence agencies.
Yep.
It's just god-awful, and it's having a terrible effect. This isn't just something that's a college campus sort of whimsical, gee, look, the kids are just sowing their oats. It's having a terrible effect on the nation and the world, because we are the world leaders. Whether we like it or not, we are in that leadership position. I don't think we should ever step down from that position, of course, but we do need to really look at the core problems within education. And it's, as soon as the Department of Education was established, it was a slippery slope down into wherever we are now. It's just god-awful.
Thanks for the call, James. I mean, I go back to Rusty Reno, the editor of First Things, who wrote this piece several years back. We had him on the show to talk about it, actually, that he had decided to stop hiring anybody from the Ivy League schools. And, you hate to be that categorical, because there's obviously good people that come out of Ivy League schools that are smart and have talent and are not, American communists. But, I mean, his point was well taken nonetheless. And you wonder if that that would have to be translated by a different administration, of course. But with respect to what we heard from Gagliano, the former supervisor agent at the FBI this morning, about the rank and file and what he saw over his 25-year career. I had the same conversation in part with Nicholas Cass, a former CIA, NSC, senior level guy at the U.S. Embassy in Turkey, State Department, about his 25-year career in intelligence and, where the rot is coming from when it comes to the quote-unquote deep state. You could get that at Counterculture podcast. Nicholas Cass is John Cass's brother. Anyway, for all the talk about redlining certain people from these elite schools because of their alignment with Hamas and the ghastly things they've said and done, coming from some in the donor class to these universities, maybe it needs to be more system-wide, not, by law or anything, of course, but private actors making private decisions that are consistent with, protecting the integrity of their institutions that are central to our free society, if we're going to continue to have one. Yeah, maybe. Mike and Hammond.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with President Biden when he pardoned the turkeys. Not because he pardoned the turkeys, but the names of them. I thought he would go with Hunter and James for the names of those turkeys. That would have been fitting.
Instead of Liberty and Bell. Yeah.
Hi-oh. Thanks for the call, Mike. Very good. Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Hi, Amy. Thanks for taking my call. A couple things I want to tell what I'm thankful for. First, I'm thankful for your show, what you talk about. It helps me keep my Chicago accent down here in Austin, Texas.
There you go.
Second, you give ammunition for people at Thanksgiving. I'm glad that you talked about Tucker Carlson, because I think what he was saying essentially was you have to present the truth with love. And I think if we do that at Thanksgiving table, that'll help. I'm also thankful for, it was Ben Franklin who said that the national bird should be a turkey. And bringing up, which is kind of ironic. But anyhow, Ben Franklin also said, we have a republic if we can keep it. And I'm glad we have a republic that we can get involved and actually change things. And I want to encourage people that are in Chicago, I hope you don't give up hope. I know it doesn't look good, but I really think if you change the Republican Party in Illinois, you can win back at least 4 congressional districts, especially if you focus on DuPage County. But again, thank you so much for your show.
I don't know.
right.
Dan,
Thanks for
don't
the
you
call,
think DuPage
Kevin.
County's gone, or is there still hope?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Argentina was gone. This conversation we've had about Milei for the last 3 days. Argentina was gone for the last half century at least, and then a revolt happened.
And did you hear what happened in Charleston, South Carolina? They just
First-
elected their
first
first
mayor.
Republican mayor since 1877.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So, but the question is, you have to do something to stoke a revolt. So who is the person or the people doing something that under the banner of the Republican Party? I have no idea. I don't see it. I don't hear about it. So is DuPage gone? I mean, well, yeah, if there's no fight. That's been the problem for 2 decades. We don't want to fight. We want to fall in.
Mm-hmm.
The bipartisan combine, whatever phrase or description you prefer, but it all takes you to the same place. There is no competing vision. There is no fight. There is no self-policing. There are very few people with any integrity in the Republican Party in Illinois. So I don't know where you go with that. And there doesn't seem to be much impetus from those that are even semi-engaged in the party to change any of that, to change the leadership, to change an organization. I mean, there are exceptions, right, we can point to. And we've had them on the show. And I don't just mean candidates or politicians, or local organizations. There's a few. But I mean, nothing that rises to the level of competing with the power structure that exists, particularly when you're fighting ostensibly your own party in addition to trying to fight the actual power structure. So, and we're not waiting for Godot. I guess we're waiting for Milei. I don't know where that person's coming from. Nick, Northwest Side.
Yeah, thank you. I want to say that in that part of the world, there's always hostility against our way of life. A lot of these people who are the radicals and extremists and terrorists, I'm not saying the average Arab and not the average Islamic person, but these people have a lot of influence and intimidate others to follow them. If there were no Israel and no Jews ever, I don't mean just now, I mean, if they would still hate us because we have what they consider to be a materialistic and pagan society. And Iran has made it clear the little Satan, which is Israel, and a big Satan, which is America, these have to be dealt with, in their opinion, somehow. And Saudi Arabia, this be the last thing, years and years ago, used to run some ads about how good they were to America, how they were friends with then President Eisenhower, and they've always come through for America when we need something. Well, now they're chummy with Russia and Putin. So, we got to defend Israel. That's our only friend in that area. And just like I'm sure Israel allows us to have access to things that they defend us. And that's it.
Thanks for the call, Nick. Mary Kay, Western Springs.
Oh, hi, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving week. And happy belated birthday, Amy.
Oh, thanks.
I went to my first Freedom Summit on my birthday, and so you and I are both Scorpios. And I was thinking about the woman who was in the news who was talking about being Scorpio and saying, like, I don't know how people don't know what to do with all of this, all of her Scorpio-ness. And
Yeah, the director
right,
of diversity at the CTA. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's
Right,
sacrificing
her, yeah,
so much for the greater good of the community, so she thinks.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what people are supposed to be doing with all my Scorpioness either, and yours too, Amy. It's like, yeah, we're Scorpios. What? I just thought it was such a bizarre comment that lady made, and from one Scorpio to another, I think we're pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for the
I don't
call,
know.
We've
Mary
got a lot
Kay.
of va-va-voom.
Yes. Couple things I do want to get to.
We still have time.
Joe in Arlington Heights, the poet laureate of Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, I'll try not to let you down. I heard Richard from India Head Park call in the first hour and give thanks to you guys, and that just inspired me to sit down and jot something together to say how much we appreciate you. The poem's called Our Morning Answer. We have 3 friends most have never met, but we're together each weekday morn. They're bright and polished on many things, and they keep us well informed. Sometimes they make us laugh, except when themselves they bicker. Amy bravely stands her ground, but Dan is often quicker. Reporter, talker, and mother strong, parental love to Amy belongs. But like her journalist brethren, sometimes she can't help but butt in. And Mike, the solid anchor pro, smoothly makes the newsroom go. We all trust him to relay the news we need to know each day. And we can't forget the unseen crew that operates the broadcast stream. While you toil behind the scenes, your dedication gives voice to the talent team. Then there's the guy with top billing. What a way to make a living. Against the stream of culture he oft swims, with masterful logic he plies to win. So on this Thanksgiving Day, all your listeners wish to say, although we can't often show, to all of you our appreciation grows. Thank you, Amy, Mike, Dan. We do appreciate you today and every day.
Thank you, Joe. Hold on a second.
Wow.
I want to get a copy of that because I want to put that up on my refrigerator. First of all, but no, seriously, we need to get a copy of that poem so that we can post it online. I appreciate that, Joe.
That's
I'm sure
wonderful.
all
Cool.
of us do. Thanks for the call, Joe. We put you on hold. All right, and then we'll get your particulars and get a copy of that. Very good.
That was great. Yeah, and we couldn't do it without Justin and Quinn. That's for sure.
Who are not mentioned by Joe.
No,
that
they
was,
weren't.
That was
but I was just trying to say Justin Quinn.
That was an intentional slight, I think. No, we got our own little Carl Sandburg here, Joe.
That
at
was
Carlington
really,
Heights.
really thoughtful.
All right,
I
since-
really appreciate that. And
since
then
we're-
yesterday at the Tom Seraphin party, so many people came up and said thank you so much and thank Dan for what you do.
What?
'Cause we're the only voice in Chicago. Yeah, I had some
At the Tom
judge-
Seraphin party.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people. I could not believe it. And people were like, do you know that judge? I said, no, I didn't. I've never met him before in my life. Like, well, he seems to know you, because he came up and he said he listens to the show and he's very appreciative. And then they asked where you were, and I said in the bathroom at his home in Naples.
That's surprising.
Oh,
That's
I was.
surprising at
I've
Tom
never
Seraphin
had
party.
that before,
Yeah.
Dan. I mean, it was really nice.
What did Kim Fox have nice things to say about
Kim
us?
Fox. No, she didn't. She just said, hello, Amy, and then gave me a hug, and it was very, I don't understand.
I've never had the pleasure, but if I did see her, I'd be pleasant, but I wouldn't.
Oh, I was
hug
pleasant,
Her.
yeah.
I wouldn't hug her like John Cass did.
John Gass hugged her. I saw it with my own eyes. And I was
Maybe
like,
did
what
he
is
give
going
her-
on? He's like, just she's on the way out. She's spreading holiday cheer.
Was it a Judas kiss that he offered?
I don't know.
I don't know. Now I'm a little suspect of Cass. We may have an enemy inside the perimeter.
I tweeted out a picture of John at the event just to prove, but I didn't get the hug.
All right, we were talking about
Yes, real
the Hallmark
important
Channel yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And the side hustle that you may be able to get to watch Hallmark movies and then rank them for this flower operation. You get paid for it. And even though you don't remember any of the actors in all these Hallmark and
No, I
Lifetime
don't.
movies.
Well, Scott Wolf's on a lot of them and all that.
Was he?
He's a B actor. Yeah, I don't-
What was the terrible drama he was in? Was that,
Justin, can you help me out here?
That
What
was he
in?
was in the
He's
was he in
a
the with the one with what's her name? Oh gosh, no, I'm
Party of Five.
Yes, that's exactly.
Bingo.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. With
Yeah,
that
that's him.
Neville chick.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What's her first name? I don't.
All right,
Yeah,
so-
he stars in a lot of Hallmark movies.
Yeah, well, That's what happens when you wash out a party of 5, I guess. All right, so here is this is like a compilation. This is every Hallmark movie.
Okay.
And it starts with this, just to give you a bit of a visual, and then I'll let the actors take it from there. Okay. It starts with a woman walking in the woods, the snow-draped woods, and comes across, a guy just randomly happens to be chopping wood in the woods. Of course, 'cause that's what people do in the woods.
Oh my gosh, it is so great to be back in my quaint hometown. It is a welcome break from my high-paying New York City job that has left me a little cold and materialistic. No, Linda, I said I needed those deliverables streamlined into cash flow. Hold on, I need to circle back. Steve Borgalugi, is that you?
Chloe Vanderfleming?
Wow.
Wow.
It's good to sit.
I had a crush on you in high school.
Yeah, but now you were good looking.
Yeah, I am. This axe really helps. What are you doing for a living?
I am a New York executive and I am having it all.
Okay.
What are you doing for a living?
I chop down trees for people's Christmas living rooms.
Oh, so you have no money.
Is that...
What level Hulu account do you have?
Does that really matter?
Do you even have Disney Plus?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Bye, Steve.
Wait for the plot
It sure is great having it all.
Right?
I have everything I want except love.
But there are so many eligible men in New York.
Yes, but I am no New York supermodel. You see, I am just attractive enough to catch the eye of somebody in this small town.
That's true.
I did see Steve Borgalugi today. He is cute.
He sure is.
But he is broke.
No, he isn't.
What?
He invented the internet.
Wow, now I am attracted to him.
Right?
But I called him broke to his face. How do I win him back?
Probably a grand gesture that could be the climax of this movie.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil the ending, but you get the gist of it.
Oh, that is fantastic.
It's really good. He invented the internet. Ed in Chicago Heights, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, people. Happy Synthetic Feast of Tabernacles. Month late, but at least we celebrate. That's what it's based on. But the FBI guy is really disappointing when he thinks that the bottom is corrupt and the top is corrupt, but somehow the FBI is worth saving when it's a vision of America. In fact, it's a vision of the USA's worst traitor, Woodrow Wilson. That's the vision. If you read the senator's replies, they thought it was too good to be true and they didn't want it. They couldn't even get agents from anywhere. You got to read what the senators said, that only a totalitarian dictatorship requires a secret police force.
Thanks for the call, Ed. Appreciate it. Just a note on Thanksgiving. People may be interested where the big guy, Mr. 10%, President Biden, is spending his Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
His old buddy, David Rubenstein, the guy who essentially funds the National Archives and installs the National Archives directors, like the National Archives director, first David Ferrero and then Colleen Shogan, who essentially launched the classified document investigation, criminal investigation into President Trump. That's where he'll be. But don't think there's any collusion.
Oh, no, not at all.
Chuck and Delavan.
Chuck.
Hey, how you doing? Get on the interstate, Amy. Friday night, get funky up here to the bottle shop. We got Mr. and Mrs. Claus from 5:30 to 7:30. So if you get a chance, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and thanks for letting me always close your show. God bless.
God bless, Chuck. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
What she said.
I got to do it. Where are you going to be, seriously, for Thanksgiving? Are you really going to get a Hungry Man Jack?
Yeah.
TV tray dinner?
Whatever. Yeah. Hike and I'll split it. We'll fight over the potatoes.
Okay, please tweet that out. All right, thank you so much for everybody that participates in this show. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Today we're going to have some clouds, and it's going to be cool. It's now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
They keep waiting and hoping.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The families of the Hamas hostages still don't know who will be among the 50 set free in a deal the U.S. helped broker for Israel.
We do not fully trust Hamas, a very cruel terrorist organization.
But Gilly Roman, whose sister has been held captive since last month's terror attack, tells Fox.
We hope that they will stand up to the agreement that they have signed, and we will see on a daily basis more and more of our loved ones.
Now, the first releases under this deal are expected tomorrow.
Israel's going to get 50 of their hostages back, mostly women and children. In exchange, Israel will be releasing 150 Palestinian prisoners. Now, the hostages, we understand, will be freed in groups of 10 to 20 over the span of 4 to 5 days. During that time, and each time that hostages are released, there will be a pause in the fighting.
That's Fox's Jeff Paul in Tel Aviv. There's even more tension at the Korean border now. South Korea is restarting aerial surveillance of North Korea. In reaction to the North Korean claim it's launched a military spy satellite, a South Korean minister calls that launch a violation of UN sanctions and a grave provocation threatening its national security. Republicans will soon have 222 House seats, 9 more than Democrats. And voters in after voters in Utah kept what had been a red seat, GOP red.
Celeste Malloy winning Utah's special election over Democrat Kathleen Reeby. Malloy will replace her old boss, Congressman Chris Stewart, who resigned earlier this year due to his wife's health. Malloy served as Stewart's former chief counsel.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Millions more Americans are hitting the road today or taking off with Thanksgiving tomorrow. It's expected to be a very busy, crowded day at airports, but only 45 flights canceled, according to FlightAware. More than 500 are delayed, though. America's listening to Fox News.